affordable housing, new and medical care, meaningful employment. One second. Somebody trying to. Meaningful employment, livable wages, quality education, real economic gains, and an improved quality of life are enjoyed by the masses. We need all of that. And we know that, and we understand that it's going to take time to right the deficiencies that have accumulated for more than a century. We know that it's going to take more than money. It's going to start with educating our people. And I'm not talking about education, I'm talking about audience reading and arithmetic. I'm talking critical things regarding issue solutions. As I've said, listen to the politicians attentively, but hold on one second. I think Mr. Patterson is trying to call me. Mr. Patterson. Hello?
Hi, Mr. Patterson is on. Can you see him?
Hold on one second. Let me see if I can get him in. It won't let me. Yeah, it won't let me merge him.
Allowing you to merge him?
No, let me see something else.
When I went back, the call was, but it's talking no connection with that. I'm ringing it back now.
And if I put him on, I'm gonna off the panel.
If you put him on, the panel will get cut off.
Hold on. Yeah, I believe that to be the case. Hold on. Oh, see.
Let's see if this is working now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Okay, here we go. Say something.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Let me see if I can get the rest of the guests back on here.
All right.
All right, thank you.
All right. Okay, and then participant. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, hello?
Yes, banana.
Yeah, something all right with the system, man, because I keep, hold on, folks. You can't hear me?
Yeah, I'm here, see man.
Yeah, I keep losing him, you know.
You couldn't use the StreamYard.
No, I can't use that. Add Jeffery TAVARES. Add. Let me see.
Next week, yes. She movie, yeah, man, not them, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, but them not come on.
All right. Yeah, go on good this, sir.
Yeah, but
yeah,
see, but them not come on.
Yeah.
Them not come on at all.
So you hear them?
No.
So them read.
I'm saying like Kevin. Hold on. Okay.
2 or 4, but 4 over there, son.
Yeah.
It's a 2 or 4, but there are 2 there. Oh, there are 2 in. There are 2 on call. So me and you connect, and there are 2 for connect. I'm saying I can connect in there. Let me add them for you. See me add them there. Voilà, look at them are coming. Don't do nothing. Just add them. Just look.
Kevin. Well, now,
See me add them for you there.
Add everybody. You add them?
See them there. Look on this.
Voilà.
Let them answer you now. Look. No, see them for me. Look on the screen.
No, see you alone.
But them it a ring. Suppose
No, I try to get them on, but
right, one come on now.
yeah, I mean, invite them on, but no, come on.
One on. One on UIC.
All right.
Them, Jeffrey man.
Yeah, but no, it's a mess.
Jeffrey, you can see me?
Yeah, I can see you guys.
You must see me. We are seeing Rattigan.
Yeah, but add Mr. Pat.
No, I'm add too.
Me
So
not see him.
in there, to the answer. Tell them answer him phone. It a ring.
No, it's not. That's enough. There's something going on with the system.
So me just add him. 2 or 4. Now add him back for you.
Add
See
him.
me again. If you just answer it.
All right, Kevin. Let me set my camera.
If you just
No.
answer him, ring like up. Me just push Jeffrey one and Jeffrey answer it. We are seeing you now.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, you're good. I mean, just push
Yeah,
it
but
up.
we stop now.
You're
Stop
good.
it now because with the
I
camera.
didn't do chance.
Yeah.
In them, if you just answer, man.
Yeah, but right. Let me. All right, me call him up. I'm gonna call him then and tell him for answer.
Tell them for answer. Tell them it a ring and just press it.
We do apologize to our listeners who are listening to us. On behalf of Mr. Rattigan, we're having some technical difficulties here.
Yeah, can you answer? Lonesome just send him an invitation.
Let's send it again.
He's sending it again.
All right. See it?
Yeah.
It a ring.
It's
Tell them
ringing.
for answer it.
It's not ringing.
Call in UIC, Jamaica. Tell them it's a year show. Just send them answer it.
Yeah, it's ringing.
It a ring. See it front of your ring there?
It's ringing on. Yeah.
That means
No, not StreamYard. Just tell them to answer the Skype.
To this answer
Tell them
this
answer the Skype. Tell them answer the Skype.
hold on, Wayne. Hold on, Wayne. I think he's talking to his technical person.
Yes, it's singing.
So again, you not answer. We need one more time. You say answer it now. See that calling UIC Jamaica.
To all our listeners on Reggae Global Radio, on the behalf of Reason with Rattigan, Mr. Wilfred Rattigan, we're having some technical difficulties here. We do apologize to our viewers and listeners for this. I don't know what's going on, Ratty.
Just have a look forward. Just tell him, you have a number for him. I was going to tell him then just call him by phone if he can't think that.
And he can call through Wayne thing too. Here they say he's joining. He come up on my phone that Patterson is joining. Have you seen it right there in the left hand? The right?
Yeah, it's a joining.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah, but no. No. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but the other folks now they're gone. You know, hold on a second. Let me just try this one time. Let's see.
Now you can trying again.
Okay.
It has ended.
Mr. Patterson,
Yes, can you hear me?
there he is. Well, I think there's something wrong with the system.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can hear you loud and clear now.
believe we can't get one person. See if we can add lonesome.
Jesus, hold on. I'm having access to the whole system. Okay,
If I add him, I'm gonna lose somebody. That's just the way. Let me see. Invite.
I cannot add. Tell Lonesome to call back in. That's the only way we can do this. You don't give me the option to add him at all. If you want, I'm president, add it, don't do it. This is really ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't call him. Let me see something.
Log out to the system and log back in.
Yeah, Jeffrey gonna say if you log out and log back.
I'm getting a WhatsApp call from you guys.
Okay,
Hello.
yeah.
That's you? Hello? Join. Yeah, it seems as if we're all on a WhatsApp call here.
Oh, yeah. I see it. Yeah. Let me come up. Just have to wait on some.
Yeah, on the Skype platform.
Is there any way you can mute all of us and I can play some music and reggae global that they don't hear us from your end?
Hold on, Wayne. We're trying to figure something out here.
All right. Mr. Patterson, tell him to log out of the system and log back in.
All right, log out of the system and log back in, all right? Log out and log in again. All right, cool. What's his Skype name? What's Wayne's Skype name?
Oh, I see him trying to come.
Lonesome.
Yeah.
Lonesome?
It won't make me.
Lonesome.
It won't make me.
Wait, Lonesome, Brown, I think. There he is.
No. Somebody just called him.
The radio station need access and the only Skype they use.
I don't see that. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Since I went wrong. Yeah.
All right, tell Wayne I have sent a link to him. Use the link and come in.
Yes, sir. I just told him. He just called me all of it.
Okay.
Jeffrey and Mr. Patterson. All right, after the all right, so when I if I three dots on the top left, I'll say 179. So what do I do there?
We apologize for our technical difficulties that we're facing. We are working on it. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be on pretty soon. Facing technical difficulties here. We have the Wilfred Rattigan, reason Rattigan,
So our team, all right, hold on.
Here.
Hold on.
Here is.
All right.
I'm here.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, I guess we'll just have to just work with this because one camera show. All right, everyone, and sorry for the technical difficulty, but we've been beset by these issues, and I promise you that this week I'm going to straighten it out once and for all, and I may have to take some action, but because I did service to you because you tune in to listen to Reason with Rattigan, and you know you could be doing something else with your Saturdays. Instead, you end up here, and it's not fair that you end up with an inferior product. And most of that is has to do with me, you know, forms. But anyway, as I was saying, pay close attention to what you hear the politicians are saying, or listen to the politician, but pay close attention to what's going on around here, because this is where sense is extracted from the nonsense you've been fed by a whole bunch of politicians. This is the poor people's university. And keep in mind that formal education is only one way. It's not the other way. And I'm sure being book smart, others being street smart, into it, some being another. Well, it's not only the rich and influential people who possess these traits. This panel does, and we have and continue to share our experience, knowledge, etc. You too can become examples and influences in your communities. And you don't have to just listen to what somebody feed you. You can cut through the nonsense. Now, I've been told that thousands of you have watched my YouTube channel. Continue to do so, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Tell your family and friends to do the same. Again, there is no cost associated with subscribing except small investment of your time. And believe me, and trust me, it's a wise investment. Today, my guests, family, and I, is about pertinent news out of Jamaica. As usual, you're invited to join us and reason with us on the phone. And let me get the number again. Phone line. Last week we had some difficulty with that as well. Hopefully we won't experience the same problems. 667-369-8569. Again, the number is 667-369-8569. Or you can just hit us up in the chat room. I see Carl said there's an issue every Saturday platform and keep it. I couldn't agree with you more. I see somebody else sending some stuff here. I don't think that's for me. That's for the previous host. Another reminder, please tune into Reggae Global Radio this Saturday, tonight, from midnight until 2 a.m. and relax with the rebel. So far, the reaction has been outstanding. So if you're up tonight and you're stressed out, or you would just like to listen to some really, really good music, tune in to Relax with the Rebel on this radio station tonight at midnight until 2. As always, make it a date. Don't be late. Today, we have a distinguished panel that if you've been watching the show, however, I believe that we have some new listeners, some new viewers, and so an introduction is necessary. We have Herb Nelson Jr., a man who's well-versed in national security and crime issues affecting Jamaica and the Greater Caribbean, and he should join us shortly. We also have with us Jeffery, the Defender Tavares, talk show host and commentator on Roots FM and also of YouTube fame. And last, and certainly not least, Wayne, man in the woods, the renegade who not afraid, the wind, LONESOME, the giant in the real fight for human rights in Jamaica. A man who's a symbol of speaking truth to power with evidence, not so, not hearsay, not conjecture, or just mere belief, but with real, cold facts, evidence. And my guest today is none other than Mr. Joseph L. Patterson. Among the many hats he wears are father, entrepreneur, educator, and president of the United Independence Congress, UIC, a political organization in Jamaica. Now, let me say, I've never met him personally, but I've watched him on several platforms and watch him explain the mission, the mandate of this political organization. I've found him to be articulate, bright, energetic, and with a vision for Jamaica that many people are examining. And today's panel will not be an exception. However, as a politician, he has faced, and he may not call himself a politician, but he's getting involved in politics. He'll let me know as a politician. However, as such, he has faced the unavoidable controversy that people in his position face. In fact, you may remember him and other members of his organization as subjects of an arrest last July for protesting in violation of the Public Order Act. Today's discussion is going to be riveting and hopefully in the spirit of reason with Rattigan. We'll walk away with clarity of the issue. Shout out time. Can blessings from Mama Eileen, Papa Trevor, Ma P and family, Miss Nelson, Earl. Well, I think Earl, I think Earl not dead right now. Bonnie John, big up yourself, my brother. Get well soon. Sassy Diva, you know my prayers. Big shout out to the Reggae Global family, especially Kevin, you know, who works tirelessly to just keep me on, because if it's just me on everything. Big shout out to the Meadowbrook crew, the Firehouse crew, the Rallington crew, Admiral, yourself, Donovan from Rallington, stay so. The Maxwell Avenue crew and the crew of hardworking, dedicated, honest members of the JCF and JDF who are out there every day trying to keep Jamaica safe and secure. Now, this week's speech is by the opposition leader and the Prime Minister, as well as appearances in Parliament by Peanut Dread, a controversial figure. And also in attendance was one of the residents whose homes in Clifton were bulldozed by the government. The Peanut Dread saga continues with the man in the wilderness. He's been doing several programs on it. And I'm sure we'll talk today about the topic. Let's begin. Mr. Patterson, welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I have seen a number of your programs as well, quite enlightening and refreshing. I'm looking forward and up to discuss some of these items with you as well.
Outstanding, outstanding, outstanding. Man in the wilderness, Defender, welcome, welcome. I say Herb is trying to get on, but Herb, if I hit this ball here, I'm gonna lose everybody. So if you can, if you will, please call on the line, and then we'll just proceed with you on the phone line today.
Yes.
It will prevent other people from coming on, but you know, so be it.
Or
No,
Wayne can send him the link, you know, forward the link from your WhatsApp to him, Wayne, and if he uses that, he can get in.
all right. I will see if he'll join us. No, Mr. Patterson, your watch program. I'm heartened by that, because it's in a stage of infancy, and so we're trying to get as many viewers as possible, and you being one of them.
My pleasure.
So you know the drill. The first question I ask every guest is, "Who are you?" Explain to the audience. There's some people out there who know, but they don't know enough, and there's some who don't know. So explain to all of us, who is Joseph Patterson?
Question, because there's so many facets to my life, but we can begin by just saying I'm an ordinary Jamaican. I was born in Kingston, 1971, August 2nd, in a little place called Blake Road. That's in the heart of downtown. I grew up in the inner city community and eventually became successful in academic studies, you know, from Spanish Town Secondary to St. Andrew Technical, to a full scholarship to UTech, where I studied engineering. And from there I became an immigrant, like many Jamaicans, migrated to Canada, and became a CPA in Canada, and rose to the ranks of director of finance in the colony there. I chaired some serious boards, the last of which on an international level was Oil Credit, where I was the chairman for a board that looked at a fund of $146 billion. I reached Jamaica some 11 years ago, where now I'm engaged in farming and continue to practice accounting, and trying to build for Jamaica a new political movement. I hate to call it a party because it's really meant to unify the people, but the current system requires us to be a party, so we're a party. And we're mobilizing people and trying to bring people together to address the core problems we face in Jamaica. The number one is governance, bad governance to be exact. And so Joseph Patterson is, like you, all of you, trying to bring change and hope to Jamaica.
Okay. Nice opening. Now, let's get down to details. Let me start with having, oh, by the way, Mr. Herb Nelson, welcome, sir. Unmute.
Welcome to you all, to the new or esteemed guest, Mr. Patterson. How you doing?
Doing great, Mr. Nelson. Nice to see you and hear you.
Yes, and more men to the nest, we brought him in from the cold. He's looking good today. And the Vumba Ba Vumba V.
All right. So look,
Well, we have all kind of names around here, Mr. Patterson. You're gonna know that, and maybe you'll have a name for us all here soon. One that the Prime Minister may or may not like. Who knows?
Well, let me start this way. I actually saw you for the first time, Mr. Patterson, on the show, and I was intrigued, and I watched the entire thing. So what I'll do is I'll give him the honor of asking you the first question, since he has a familiarity with you. So, Mr. Lonesome, the floor is yours, sir.
Yes, good evening. Good evening to all the panel. Yeah. Mr. Patterson.
Yes, sir.
Today is a day where, you know, we have Jeffrey and Urban Man Will, where, you know, we're gonna come hardcore knocking now, because right now we, you know, 23 and, you know, we're not all up on politician right now, you know. The president of the UIC, first thing, do you get to select all the 63 candidates already for if a general election call like tomorrow or next month?
Yeah, if an election is called tomorrow, we will definitely have the candidates, but not necessarily 63.
What's the figure right now?
Well, that is still being decided by the nominations committee.
Nomination committee. All right, so all these candidates, they're getting vetted. When we say vetted, you know, with CV, not to just talk to them, interview them, but proper CV and send other people go check out them background thoroughly. You doing that?
Absolutely, we're definitely doing the best we can to vet them as thoroughly as possible.
And reach to members of the community, in the community, that you can really get a real background on these people.
Well, that's the first place we look at, because all of our candidates must come from the community and represent the community that they live in, cannot represent a community. And so we rely on the citizens in those communities to give us a feedback on the persons who are running. In fact, we invite them to tell us if they want the person to run.
All right, so first thing, all right, so, you know, you have some of these inner city communities where, you know, you have some people might have, you know, put themselves up to get elected. But the truth is, a lot of them, you know, them divided in their own community. So you can make sure you get to select candidates who are balanced on all sides and with good standing in the community. Good standing. You know, who want to look on them real background of work, you know, them brought up, everything about them. Because you see how the landscape right now I go with some of these, what's happening? Okay, everything good. With some of these candidates and some of these politicians now, a member of parliament, when we start on them CV, it's not so good enough. So your party going to guarantee us, you're going to do all the due diligence and go through the background thoroughly.
Yeah, and it also depends on if you're looking for their background, Wayne. If you're looking at representational politics, some people may not have the kind of credentials that, say, Rattigan and myself might possess from an academic standpoint and so on. But you have some persons who are really hardcore grassroots individuals who understand the issues in their communities and can prove them. What you want to exclude are persons who are by nature involved in any form of corruption or any form of criminal activities. And you know, the UIC stands firmly against politics being in any way connected to criminality. That's what keeps us clean. But in terms of a person's track record, you're going to find a mixed bag depending on how persons view them in their communities. But we look for candidates who have the majority support. If you have more persons speaking positively of the person, and if their background when checked doesn't have any checkered past concerning crime and violence or government corruption, political corruption, or even corporate corruption.
Continue, and even corporate corruption.
Well, that was the end of my sentence. I'm saying any form of corruption that we can get our hands on, that we learn of, then that would be a disqualifying factor.
Disqualifying factor. And next thing now, you're going to go about to raise funds to fund the party?
Very good question. As you know, the UIC is a grassroots movement. So our funding is primarily coming from ordinary Jamaicans here and abroad. So we're raising funds through ordinary Jamaicans contributing. And we've been working on that very much. It's very difficult, because our people are not used to that way of funding parties. They're used to having the PSOJ just give money to these two groups, and then they go out and buy the votes and win the election. So we're educating and pulling people up to do something very different. And that's where if all of us as Jamaicans recognize the importance of owning our political parties and not ceding it to the PSOJ, then we have a better chance of fixing the problems. As long as we want the parties to be owned by PSOJ oligarchies, we'll never be able to control our politicians and get them to do what we want them to do.
But I have a different view on that, because I have a view that, PSOJ, these are the same people buying from them. And a lot of poor people in Jamaica. We have 2 million people can't even afford food by the world standard. It's reported, right? And if we continue to take, $20 from these people and we cannot afford food, it even drive them down more. Why not take money from the PSOJ? But we not do what them say. Because at the end of the day, if you form the other, if you form the next government, right? You turn, form the government. Them still have to pay taxes. Them still have to do what them do, and what them say. PSOJ can't only like a robot team, but you have to include them in my term. Not to be a robot to them, but them have to play them play share because they are in Jamaica, them getting the labor skills, them everything, and it will ease off the burden. But them have to help fund parties. But you not going to be a robot to them or a yes man to them. What is it?
Well, you need to understand human behavior and human dynamics and understand the incentives involved in our politics. The only reason why the PSOJ will fund a political party is if that party gives it certain amount of confidence that when elected, they're going to do as they're told for the most part. If you look back at the history of in Jamaica, see where there are times where the PSOJ withholds funds from a political party and its leadership if they don't think it's going in the right direction. You've also seen where they have increased their funding to some when they want to maintain a particular course in terms of the agenda which is being pursued. And that has always been the way our politics is run. So if you think you're going to change by saying, I'm going to win with their help and then change afterwards, that's deception. And a politician, hold on a second. A politician that wins election based on deception is a deceptor or deceiver still. So I'm not going to promise anybody that you fund my campaign and then when I go in, I do something different from what I've said.
But what I'm saying, I'm not telling you to promise somebody that, and I'm going to tell you this too. Remember PSOJ, private sector organization of Jamaica. If you think about it, it's not everybody political, that's a number one, because of business people, right? And some of them some vote for JLP, some vote for PMP, some vote for no Ps. So PSOJ is a broad body of business people. So no care what to do, even some of them come from foreign with the tourism sector and everything. You don't have to promise to the PSOJ. Not, but you might have think that, but I think a different way. And by the way, PSOJ, them have to pay them part and pay them taxes too. But what I'm
you're conflating a number of things here. Let's separate them.
Separate them.
The private sector of Jamaica is all of us who are outside the government. Once you are not a government employee, you're a member of the private sector. That is a larger group than the public sector. That's given. The PSOJ as a body is quite fine. What I'm talking about is the PSOJ membership, those who act as an oligarchy. Hold on. If you study politics carefully, you know that it's not those you see on the front page that's really running the country. It's those who pull the purse strings. So we can say anything we want, but the bottom line is the PSOJ oligarchy, they pull strings in politics. Andrew Holness cannot perform, cannot even hope to be re-elected without the support of the PSOJ oligarchy. The same for the PNP. The PNP has to play the game. Hold on. The PNP have to play the game and make sure that they don't go too far in any direction that's cost them. Hold on. That cause them not to get the funding they need from the PSOJ oligarchy. That is a fact. It works that way in America. Hold on. It works that way in America. It works that way in Canada. It works that way in Jamaica. Now, what we have to do, if we're wise, we have to understand that as a people and decide, do we want to continue to have our government be controlled by a special interest group? Or do we want to change the dynamics to make sure the government work on behalf of the people?
No, but I'm just telling you again. If you to turn to a political party, gonna need money. You have to go in all these constituencies. And if you're going to turn to just the people of Jamaica, where 3/4 of us suffer already to give at $20 and a $10, believe me, it's going to be a long jog. You understand what I'm saying, Rattigan?
No, I know.
It's going to be,
Let me respond to that point. So what you're saying is the Jamaican people will never fund their own political movement.
No,
We
but
have, hold on. We have 4 million, roughly, Jamaicans in the diaspora. If 1% of them gave $25 US a month, game over.
no,
1%.
but you just say something. Hold on. You just say something. Don't you know the 1% of them I give to them? That I just just go forward with this. So if them have people
No,
there,
no.
let them give it to the
Hold
party
on.
also.
No.
For the PSOJ could control them then.
Hold
If
on.
it don't for your party, go for the rest of the party same way.
No, hold on. You're missing the point here.
No, I'm not missing it.
Let me replay it for you.
Yes.
Right now, the 2 colonial parties that have been in power.
I wouldn't call them that, colonial.
That's my word.
You don't use, okay.
You don't have to borrow it. The 2 colonial parties that have been in office for 80 years.
No, 80 years.
Hold on. No, hold on a second.
Something again.
Hold on. Lonesome. Hold on a second. No, hold on a second. Hold on. Let Mr. Patterson finish. Finish, Mr.
Yes.
Patterson. Then you can. Then we'll.
The two parties that came out of the colonial era that were funded by the plantocracy of the day, which is the PSOJ oligarchy today, those 2 colonial parties have been in office since 1944 when we got universal adult suffrage. For 80 years now, we have trusted them with our country, with our lives, with our economy, and we have seen the result for 80 years. Now, they have figured out a very good model. The model goes like this. We take money from the rich elite, pretend we care about the poor, get elected, and then we steal some of that money and keep the people in perpetual poverty, where they have the road connection, the security system, they don't have the environment or the education or healthcare for them to achieve their full potential, while a few of them continue to milk the nation and get fat and big house on the hill while the people are suffering. That is a fact. Now, if we're going to change that fact, we have to do something different. What you're saying, Mr. Lonesome, is we must continue to do the same thing and hope for a different result. I'm saying no way. That's not going to work.
All right, so
hold on a second.
I never said that.
Hold on a second.
Let me just correct you. Just the facts. Let me just correct the facts. 2 political parties from 1944, that'll be 78 years, not 80. But the next thing, we get independent in 1962. That is where the thing starts. So it couldn't be, we just turned 60, so it couldn't be 78 or 80 years. US and UK was governing this. So we'd have not prime minister. So UK was governing Jamaica. We have got power and everything. So make we get the facts straight. That's number 1. The first prime minister was Bustamante, 62. So it couldn't be 80 years. All right, that's 1. And number 2, if you just tell me, said the party just think of 3 million people outside, or 4, 3 million, not 4. And if them put even $25 and fund the party. But I'm going to tell you now, a lot of these people out there, they put money to the same JLP and PMP parties. It's not just the PSOJ. Come on, guys, we want the PSOJ. Because if we don't send our money inside there with 3.8 billion per year, Jamaica sink in a 1 year.
Hold on a second there. Mr. Patterson, do me a favor. Kindly tilt your camera up. The people are saying that they can only see. Let's cut it up. No, more, please.
More? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it over the side and I down a little. No, a little bit more. Just a tad more.
Up some more?
No, the same way we were going a while ago.
Okay, there you go.
You can't go any lower?
You can't right? Higher, like that.
Yeah, go higher. A little bit more, just a little bit more.
Better?
Yeah, I think that I forgot to live with that. I think that's fine.
Okay.
But hold on a second alone. Let me ask you a question.
I won't let you get over with that.
No. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, Mr. Patterson. No. Hold on a second. Mr. Patterson, to follow up on Lonesome's question, and I know you're going to follow up to him specifically what he just said, but let me just add another piece to it. And by the way, folks, we're not going to take a commercial break because we're already late. So, and I know that there's a problem when we go through the commercial break on the streaming side that it's difficult for people to hear. So, but we have another choice. Blame me for that. No, Mr. Patterson, I read something that describes your party, right? And it says, we support non-partisan election systems and representative of the electorate at all levels. Goes on to say, all candidates must run and stand as independents for a united independence Congress. And here's the key part, and should not, I repeat, not be funded by any person, any group, or any party. Now, you just mentioned that your will come from grassroots people. Now, isn't that taking money from persons?
Okay, so you're conflating two things again. I'll quickly address them. One, you're reading what we want to set up versus what exists now. Right now, the system as it exists now, you must take money. The UIC is advocating a 100% public.
Hello.
So when we are elected and we change the constitution to make it will have a 100% publicly funded campaign financing where no candidate will be required or allowed to take financing from any private interest whatsoever. I'm going to explain how that works in a bit. But let me get back to Wayne's point. Wayne says it's 60 years. Now, Wayne, in 1944, in fact, before the PNP was formed in what, 1938, if I remember it.
Yes.
And the PNP
I want to respond to
worked with the colonial powers.
Thank you.
Now what we call universal adult regime.
Hello.
50 something, 50, yeah.
No,
50.
no, man, 1944. Get your facts.
Okay.
In 1944, we had the right to vote. It's the first time Black people en masse, equally, regardless of their economic background or language.
Black people, listen, right? That was
Hello.
No, everybody.
Hold on 1 second. Mr. Patterson, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. It's calling, but
In 1944, we got the right to vote. They call it adult suffrage or universal adult suffrage. The first election, and the GLP won that election. The first two elections, the GLP won it. The next two elections, the PNP won it. And so we have gone that way. It was 18 years of that before we got independence.
Yeah, but please explain.
Why you understand that
That was not prime minister who run it like this now. UK running the country.
I am more than happy to educate you and the listeners.
No, not me, because I know what I'm saying.
So listen to me. 1944, the PNP contested that election. The GLP won the next two terms. They were under the tutelage of a governor of England. Okay?
Yeah, good.
Come on. And then once they tested and proved that we are dumb enough to buy into that system, then they gave us a governor general later on in 19.
No.
hold on, wait, make him finish. Hold on, Lonesome. No, hold on, make him finish.
So we know, we the Jamaican people have been playing this game of partisan politics for the last 79 years to be technically correct. 1944 to 2023.
79 years.
Roughly 8 decades, roughly 80 years. We're now entering into the 80th year. And we have been playing this game that you subscribe to, where the elites of our society fund this and use that money to buy special society. While voter apathy kicks in when more and more intelligent Jamaicans realize it's a waste of time. Voting PNP or GLP results in the same outcome, even if you love PNP and another person loves GLP, the result is still the same. 5 years and the people start spot. 10 years and it gets worse. And then they throw out one and put the other one in. We'll play the seesaw for 80 years and get the same results, but even worse.
Okay, maybe answer that now. So the first election and come and then them see and then give it. So you always say the same thing about Canada. Same thing them do about Canada, right? Because of the same governor general and thing, and the same thing them do with Australia.
Do you want to
because
know?
we the same.
Do you want to know this?
Hold on. we not the same Westminster system. In Canada, in Australia, in New Zealand and things. And we see the people them now move down. It's just our people who get independence 1962. It's there we get the first prime minister. So when you don't say something, just correct that for me, please. Because them did have a governor, same like in America, them have governor for New York or anything, in goes. Different from the president. Okay?
All right, let me jump. Wait, hold on. Wait. Hold on. All right. Hold on a second. Hold on. Gentlemen. Mr. Patterson. What?
In Canada, the same thing in Jamaica and in the islands also. So don't do that.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on. Mr. Patterson, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mr. Patterson? Mr. Patterson, all right. Here's what happened. We reach an impasse, right? We're not going to agree on that point. So let's move on to another point. Let me just throw out, let me see. Jeffrey, you have a question for Mr. Patterson?
Yes, Mr. Patterson, good afternoon. You said that you won't collect funds from the PSOJ, nor Jamaica. Pardon me?
Repeat yourself. I missed a part of it.
You said you won't collect on POJ of the boom bavon, the boom bavi.
No, I've not said that. No, I've not said that.
What have you?
You said you won't collect any money.
No, I did not say that.
PSOJ.
Somebody tell you what I'm saying? Let me repeat it for you.
Hold on, Mr. Patterson. Hold on. We can rewind what you said a while ago.
No, let him clarify, Jeffrey. Hold on a second. Mr. Patterson, go ahead. What are you collecting funds from people to support the party?
So the UIC's position is that we want to do a grassroots political movement where we get the Jamaican people to own the party as opposed to having the PSOJ oligarchy own the UIC in the same way that it owns the JLP and PNP.
Okay, Jeffrey.
Hold on, Mr. Patterson. That is not what you said. That is not what you said. You said
Yes, caller.
that your party will not
Mr.
money from the
Hold on 1 second, please. Jeffrey, hold that point. Caller, go ahead, please.
No, what I'm saying here is, look, people are watching the program. I think the guests should go through the host, instead of arguing back and forth. Because, look, 3 hours, it's a long time. However, it's a short period of time. So the back and forth is not happening.
Okay.
Let the panel go to the host. The host is the host of stuff. The back and forth between Mr. Rattigan, not Mr. That is not. What I'm asking you is go through Mr. Rattigan. He's the host. Let him host the program. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Hold on. Here's another call. Yeah, caller, go ahead, please. Hello? So much. All right, go ahead.
No, you said on this program, when you first started out, that the UIC will not collect money from the PSOJ. And I call the people who live in Cherry Garden and wherever, the boom bavon, the boom bavi. You will collect money from the uprising. Now, there's something else. It's kind of certain basic items. You probably collect money from them.
Before you answer, Mr. Patterson, hold on 1 second. Yes, caller.
Yes, I would like to ask the gentleman, does any member of the police organization that you represent plan to go and pay a visit to Mr. Peanut Dread to have him clarify those statements he made about raping women, cut their throats if they resist sexual advances, and killing women and children, etc. Seeing that the prime minister gave him such a platform.
No, caller, here's the deal. Mr. Patterson is not here to answer for the government, In fact, he's against that the government. So in terms of
All right.
him,
Okay.
so if you have a specific question for him and UIC, then we'll entertain that. But if you're gonna talk to him about peanut bread, then you need to tune into We Ain't Lonesome show where you'll catch me, We Ain't Lonesome, and defend
All right,
that, and
okay,
everybody else
okay.
talking about
That's
it.
the wrong format. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Patterson, can you please respond to Jeffrey?
First of all, the UIC is committed to building a grassroots movement which is owned by the Jamaican people, home and abroad. That's number one. Two, we are prepared to empower and encourage the Jamaican people to donate to what they want. And whether or not you think we are too poor to donate to creating our own political alternative, that's your choice, Mr. Tavares. What we know for certain is that we cannot continue to have the two parties that are funded by the colonial.
Mr. President, I know it's not my program, it's Mr. Rattigan program. You told us a while ago, Mr. Patterson, that you will not collect money from the PSOJ. So in the same breath, how are you telling you to collect money from the poor people? How on earth can the poor people of our country fund a political party? But it's with millions of dollars. When they say one can hardly afford chicken back, bean mackerel, flour. Come on, Mr. Patterson.
Hold on, Jeffrey. Let Mr. Patterson respond. Hold on, Jeffrey. Yes, Mr. Patterson.
I am making it clear to you that the UIC is depending on the grassroots support to fund our party. If you don't like it, that's okay. Anyways, go ahead, Mr.
All right. Hold on a second. Herb, you have a question from Mr. Patterson?
Well, pretty much what I was trying to say, I have my notes here, grassroots movement, raising people funds, right? Grassroots doesn't necessarily mean the very poor people. Grassroots, he referred to overseas and in Jamaica. It just means the people of Jamaica, regardless of who they are, if they can afford it, they can fund it. If the people overseas in the diaspora can afford it, they can fund it. That he would not want the PSOJ to give in the funds, which he mentioned usually would go toward vote buying and other targeted communities to get them to favor the party that the PSOJ favors. So, I take him at his word for it that this is what he means. But my thing here is accountability. Mr. Patterson, my background is in intelligence and investigation.
See if I can help get him back on track.
Hold on one second. Hold on a second, Herb. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You have a question?
Yes, I do.
All right, go ahead.
I'm particularly interested in what the gentleman is saying, but it seems more like sloganeering. Those of us who are involved in this type of work. We have heard it before.
Hold on, turn your radio down. Turn your device down because I can hear it in the background.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. You're saying that Mr. Patterson is all about slogans. That's what he said.
Sloganeering, and not the sloganeering. The Jamaican people have heard it before. So my question to this gentleman is, name me, if he can tell us how many ranches he has established in terms of advancing this organization. Because to get something effective in Jamaica, you have to go into the community, construct branches, help the people to organize themselves and whatever. That I want to hear more about that from the gentleman.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
Thanks. Mr. Patterson, before you answer that question about establishing branches in the community development, can you please respond to what Herb was saying? Or Herb, did you finish? I know you made that statement, but did you have a question for him?
Yeah, it was about accountability. Because we can see on both sides currently, that the accountability factor, where in the past they have colluded with outside foreign operations to accept monies and to do their bidding. And then we see also where there's unexplained affluence, wealth that is occurring within the current government. So my question to him is, how does he intend to handle that if and when it does occur with the UIC? Because, you know, they're going to be targeted. Whether or not he can control that, I don't know. So we want to know how
will he, so Mr. Patterson, the question on the floor is, how will you deal with the unexplained wealth, the affluence? But before you do, Carla, you have a question?
Yes, hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Rattigan, for taking my call. Mr. Patterson, this question is for you, per se, as it relates to the SSL saga. What does the UIC have on the table, excuse me, to be able to deal with these financial crimes that occur in Jamaica? Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, what's the UIC's position on dealing with financial crimes?
Okay, so lots of questions now. SSL, first and foremost, was a very poorly committed situation. What we're talking about is raw fraud that has occurred in one of our financial institutions, mostly led because the regulatory body failed to take actions at the appropriate time. A lot of with the possibility of political connections and persons being given a blight because of who they're connected to and with. And you have to change that. The UIC's position is to create a fair and balanced regulatory framework that does not allow for cherry picking as to how you deal with different institutions. The law is set up, it's very clear, it's standard, and it follows. So for example, when SSL failed to meet certain prudential standards, they should have been immediately communicated to the investing public, and action is taken to bar them from continuing to conduct business in the area until the matters have been addressed. Once you have a regulatory framework where persons are able to cherry pick how they respond to different companies and different organizations and individuals, you have the kind of outcomes that we have. The UIC is going to have a clear standard regulation applies on board to all the players in a given market without hesitation and without cherry picking occurring in the situation.
All right, it sounds to me, I'm sorry, it sounds to me like you're saying that the laws are there already, it's just enforcement. Or are you saying the laws are not there and so we're going to come up with our own laws? And
there are two things. You have laws on the books right now, which if they were applied, they could have helped to mitigate the situation. They're not necessarily the best laws, however. One of the problems we have in Jamaica is that the laws we have are mostly given to us by our colonial masters, and then we just put them on the books, sometimes give it a little Jamaica flavor around it, and we go on from there. Our laws are not designed with us carefully studying and understand the consequences of these laws. The UIC wants to have laws that are A, just, and B, applied across the board to all persons, regardless of rank or status. No matter who you are, it's applied steadily. Similar to the approach that Singapore follows, which reduces a lot of these corruption problems that we see.
So you would repeal or you would improve? Which one?
Well, in terms of what we're going to leave.
Replace. Now let's get Herb's question about affluence. What's your position on dealing with unexplained wealth?
It's so simple, Rattigan, that I'm amazed that we Jamaicans have allowed this for so long. Very simple. Every single politician should be forensically tested to verify where their wealth are coming from.
But they have that on the books too, right?
Sorry?
They have that law on the books. Am I correct?
Not really. It's convoluted and weak and doesn't really.
Have you offered any suggestion to the government? Have you offered any suggestions to? Have you offered any suggestions to the legislature?
Well, the UIC has been very clear on these, man. See, here's the thing. We don't play. Many people seem to play. We're not here trying to have fun, having a discussion about different things that happen in government. We know that what we have as a governance model is bad. It's very design is bad. When you conflate the executive branch and the legislative branch, you're immediately violating a basic principle of control. You must have separation of function, separation of duties, separation of powers for you to have.
Okay, all right, be right there. I have a question, Mr. Lonesome, but before I do, let me take this call. Caller, go ahead. You have a question from Mr. Patterson?
No, I have a statement for Mr. Patterson.
Go ahead, please.
Mr. Patterson tried to recruit my son in his Ponzi scheme or whatever he calls it. Mr. Patterson cannot make Jamaica. If you're not going to go to PSOJ, then there's something wrong with you, because that's what they're there for. But he's trying to make money in Jamaica from poor people to make himself a better man. And I'm sorry, he should not be even thinking of running for politics in Jamaica.
No.
His platform is very shaky.
Okay. No, don't be sorry for having an opinion. That's why we have it reason with Rattigan. Express yourself. You have something else you want to add to that?
No, I think I've said it all. But as I said, he tried to recruit my son. When I sent him to a group, he has an education, and so he could see through his phony things. So I wish you well, but I don't think you're going to make it, because you are just going to rape poor people. You're not going to make them better. You are calculating how much, if X number of people contribute X dollars a month, how much a month you will make. It ain't gonna work. Not in my Jamaica. I'm sorry. Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, 1 second. Let me see. There's another call. Yes, caller.
I have a quick question going back to the finances of politicians. Why can't the politician do a financial disclosure every year of what they have in their accounts and where they get it from?
Well, there's support. I'm sorry. All right, go ahead.
When I work for a governmental agency, the manager every single year had to do disclosure for me and everyone in my household. Wouldn't that?
Well, to be honest with you, they're supposed to, but that's one of the points Mr. Patterson raised, saying that the law is convoluted and people skirt it and they don't do what they're supposed to do, and the penalties for non-compliance, it doesn't lead to compliance because it's minor in nature. So he's saying that UIC, they're going to repeal what's there and come up with something brand new that will cause the politicians to do what they're supposed to do. You have another question for him? That was a statement, but do you have a question for him?
No, that was it.
All right. Thanks for listening. Continue to listen. All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Now, Mr. Patterson, I have a question for you before I turn it over to Mr. Lonesome here. Now, I've read your CV, and it does seem to me, and you can correct me, I'm open to being fully corrected. It doesn't appear to me as if you've had any experience with representational politics besides being school president and so on and so forth, right? Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay. So you have no experience as being a politician in the truest sense of the word, somebody who's there in the community, not the school community, but in the community at large. 2 questions. Why should we trust you with our vote? And the second thing is, what's your weakness? What do you consider your weakness as a politician, so to speak?
Thank you very much. Yeah, so it's true that I am not a career politician. In fact, I would rather not spend my time in politics. I really got involved in this because I realized that no one else was doing what is necessary to change the trajectory that Jamaica is on. So I've decided to offer my knowledge and expertise to create a political movement with a difference. The UIC is very different. The lady that spoke a while ago, she suggested that it's a Ponzi scheme, that our asking Jamaicans to own their political party as opposed to have it being owned by the PSOJ oligarchy is a bad thing. She would rather continue having the 2 parties owned by the PSOJ and work for them. So I am doing something very different. So I'm offering Jamaica something very different. Now, I'm an accountant, CPA for a number of years. One of the things I've studied carefully is controls, internal controls. They're a critical part of the organization, be it a business, a charity, or a government. I feel it tremendously appropriate internal controls, checks and balances, a governance model that works. So I've spent a number of years, 10 in the shortest period now, where I've studied carefully how to build a government that I believe will work for Jamaica and which others have agreed that will also work for Jamaica. In terms of my CV, no, I've done work in the community, so to speak. For example, when I was a younger fellow in Seaview Gardens, my mom was living there for a little bit, well, for a while. I went down there and I kind of helped them to figure out and led some demonstrations, you know, like police support.
Hold that point from right there. The calls are coming in like crazy. Go ahead, please.
Yes, hi, Mr. Patterson. Seeing as it doesn't appear that you're going to become prime minister, why not then just run for local government and get a foot in and then make changes from within? Thanks.
Okay, so just to indicate about how the system works here, one doesn't run for prime minister. You run for member of parliament or you run for councillor. So I am the UIC's representative for member of parliament for Northeast St. Elizabeth, and I'm also working at the divisional level for Breeze River here in Northeast St. Elizabeth, along with the other divisions of Santa Cruz and so on. So I am, you know, at some point when we have an election, I may be one of a number of persons elected on the ticket of the UIC, which I look forward to. And then I will be in the House of Representatives, should the people decide so, and I will work on their behalf. And in the process, create the outcomes that we want, only a new Jamaica, which is no longer run by those two organizations.
Coming in from Jamaica, hold on. Caller, go ahead, please. Caller.
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead with you. You have a question for Mr. Patterson?
I have a question for us as a people and with your panel. You know, I am really a person that follow Mr. Lonesome and get all his ideas and stuff like that, and he's somebody that you can really learn from. But for me, watching the media and everything out there, and we don't know Mr. Patterson, but yet we judge him. We call him a thief. We call him that he's corrupt. Do you think that is right to do so without knowing the person or without finding out about the person? Or even people who are having talk show get up and call this person a thief. They will do it to you and I am the Mr. So we don't know anything about stealing. We don't know anything about corruption. I want to that for me.
Okay, thank you. Now, let me just say to the caller that nobody on the panel accused Mr. Patterson of being a thief or being corrupt. One lady called in and she said she had a personal experience and she related that experience and she's entitled to her opinion. Now, whether it's not, that's not for us to decide, and we're not going to investigate that claim. So, having said that, let me before I get back to Mr. Lonesome, Mr. Patterson, the question I ask you is why should we trust you with our vote? And you mentioned that you're an accountant, that you know about checks and balances, and that you had worked on a governance model. Is there anything else you want to tell us that convinced that we should give you our money and give you our vote? Because those three things, they don't sound.
Sure. I mean, in answering your question, there have been so many things said that it's, you know, trying to balance all of that. Now,
no, but here's what happened, because we're pressed for time. So I just want you to just quickly tell me, why should we trust you with our vote and our money?
Right. Why should you trust me with your vote and your money? Look at what I have done and what I'm doing. I could have chosen to join one of the two other colonial parties, and I could have easily fit in. In fact, if I was on the PNP ticket right now, some of your guests might be very happy and they would not find me fault with it. But because I'm not on that ticket, then of course, and that's how Jamaica politics work. A person can be running independent and they'll get one vote. And if they were to join any of the two parties, they suddenly get 6,000 votes. So that's the way Jamaica is. I am doing what I think is best as a citizen of Jamaica. I'm offering my people an opportunity to make a change, do something different. And those who value that will trust me. Those who do not value it may have a different opinion.
Mr. Patterson, what I'm asking you to, you're on, give us the specifics as to why we should trust you, considering that you have admitted that you're not a career politician. So people are saying, well, you know, why should we trust him as opposed to somebody else who's been in there for a while?
That's a great reason why you should trust me. Because I'm not a career politician.
Maybe that's no, but then it shows lack of experience, though. It shows lack of experience. Why should we trust? Because you're going to go in there and learn on the job. We don't want someone.
Experience. For example, the current prime minister has been a career politician straight out of university for the most part, and I see where we're very unhappy with his experience so far. So I want to try something different from those who are very experienced in the kind of politics that brought Jamaica to where.
But sometimes you hear people say jump from the frying pan and they jump out of the fire into the frying pan into the fire. But the second part of the question, I get where you're going, but the second part of the question is, what are your weaknesses? What do you consider your weaknesses? And why you, if you have second thoughts about why am I doing this? Why you shouldn't be.
Like any ordinary human being, you would have second thoughts. When you hear a person come on and say the things that the lady said earlier on, you know, I've been attacked. I've, you know, suffered a lot of things that I would have escaped. I just kept myself as a private citizen and enjoy, you know, what I have built and my own profession and so on. So one of my weakness, like if I were to identify a weakness, is that I'm pretty stubborn. I hang in there and I fight for what I believe to be right. And sometimes some persons might consider that a weakness. They would say, listen, man, give up. As a matter of fact, every day I'm told by persons, you know, in different forums saying, give up, man, Jamaica don't deserve you and whatever. I'm like, no. I'm fighting for something here. I'm hoping that many other persons will join me in the fight.
But Mr. Patterson, that sounds like a strength, the way you just described it. That's not a weakness.
It can be a weakness.
No. The way you just described it, it's described as a strength. I want you to tell me what do you consider a weakness? Like for example, some people might say, I'm not a good public speaker. Just for example, I'm not saying you are.
Okay, well, I'm definitely not a good public speaker. That's a given.
Okay.
So I'm not, you know, I'm not. I would love to have had the charisma of Michael Manley, for example. I mean, I really admire his charisma. So that's one of my weaknesses. In building the UIC, I also noticed other challenges. One of them is, you know, there are certain things that have been developed in the culture of Jamaica where persons do not like to be held accountable. And the more you hold them accountable is the more they become hateful. So they prefer if you can run a show or a shop where you kind of just do things and let it just kind of slide and whatever. And I'm not that kind of, I'm very, very meticulous. I'm very committed to getting results. And sometimes that's not the norm in our culture.
I tell you what I perceive. It's a question that you probably haven't given much thought. So rather than browbeat you, I'll just, excuse me, I'll just yield to Mr. Lonesome and have him.
Just bear in mind that is your opinion.
Well, is it true? Is it true?
Yeah. No, it's not true.
Okay, all right. Well, since it's not true, then can you enumerate the weaknesses then to me?
But I just,
you said to me that you're not.
What I have to say is my weakness.
No. Hold on one second.
I'll tell you what you want to hear.
No. Hold on. That's why I asked you the question. I want to hear from you. But here's what you told me.
I've told you what I think.
You've given me two. You're giving me two.
You want three? You want to know?
No. When so only two weaknesses you have?
No, I'm saying how many would you like? 10 or?
How much as you'd like to share with us?
Oh, so you want no time to be spent on that one?
No. Oh, so you have a lot of weaknesses then?
No. You told me that you.
No, but if you say when, no. But hold on a second. You said, no, the first one you said is that I'm stubborn and people tell me that I shouldn't, but I'm fighting it because I believe in it. And I said to you, well, that doesn't sound like a weakness. If you believe in the fight, that sounds like a strength. And I said, I'd like for you to enumerate, for example, if you're not a good public speaker. I said, by the way, I'm not a public speaker. So you've given us two. Right.
So I'll give you three, actually. The third one, I told you that one of the issues which I found was that I have to get used to certain cultural norms.
Right.
Which I have outgrown, I think.
Mm-hmm. All right, we won't browbeat you on that. And it's not fair to the listeners either to hear us going back and forth on that. There are more substantive issues. Mr. Lonesome.
Okay, good. Mr. Patterson, can you tell me how long you established this?
Well, the word establish is interesting. So the UIC, the concept of the UIC first got kicked off in 2013. That's where I kind of formulated the vast majority of the principles around which the party or movement would exist. We did not become a party until 2019. In fact, in 2018, when we had our Congress, we're a movement all this time, you know, working and with people and so on. You might recall, or you might not recall, I ran as an independent with the UIC label in 2016 in Northeast St. Elizabeth. So I ran at a time when there was quite a bit of upheaval here in Northeast where I live. Then in 2018, our membership voted for us to become a political party. So we voted to say, yes, let's go ahead, because the laws had changed. The laws changed and say you need to register and so on. So we voted in 2018 to do that. And in 2019, after 10 months of battling with the ECJ, we became an official political party on the 2nd of December, 2019.
Oh, that's the same. 2019. This is the same time both parties became official registered party also.
No, they became official in 2018 because
the 2018
law,
because I know they said you have to register. So I want to know when you start to operate then, you know, as a political movement.
So we've been operating since 2013 progressively. So we, you know, when you start a new movement, you start to progress. So you formulate ideas, you start to reach out to people, you start to work.
All right, tell me something though. You know, to run and move political parties have to turn a prime minister. That's why I'm asked before, if you get all your 63 candidates, because remember, you know, you have to win more seats, right, to form the government. And if that's so, how many candidates? But I guess can you give me an idea of the figure what you have? Because look here, what to do now. If I said 10, you're not going to be a prime minister. You can't be a prime minister with 10 because you know, say it's 63 seats, and if you win 10 seats out of, only thing it could have been though, it could have been what do you call it now? One of them breaker. When you call the breaker now, if a party could win and win couple seats, tiebreaker. But you can be a prime minister. You have to have a full deck of cards that they can put in and run, right? I'm right. So that's why I'm gonna ask you, but you never give me a figure. Can you give me what your other idea? How many candidates now and the state?
Sure. So we are not committed to sharing with the public right now how many candidates we're going to have on election day. Okay, so that's something that I'm not able to supersede the nominating committee and tell you now how many candidates we're going to have right at this moment in time. I can't tell you that. What I do tell you is that you are correct that you require at least 33 of the 63 in order for you to form the government and have your leader, the prime minister. But we also recognize that if you have even one seat in the House, you can be a major deciding factor in what happens. If you have 5 seats, that's even more, 10 and so on.
So one seat, like, sorry to cut you, like George Best, because in Ghana as an independent, one seat deciding factor, like George Best.
No, I wouldn't equate the UIC to George Best.
No, I'm not talking about what him doing and nothing like that. But as an independent.
No, George Best is not there as an independent. He did not run as an independent.
I know, but
right. So he's not serving that function. But
yeah.
but just
but as an independent, you know that even right now, the cabinets here right now, them don't even have not talk because you have a farting and you have an imbalance. And you know, so when them talk, you know, them are get bullied by the government. And you know, we know it. You understand? Even with them 14 seats for them up. No. Only place them could have catch them now in the Senate. We need even one at the opposition for passing. That's why them can't go through with the SOE where they want flood the place and lock up the kids. Them people kids and all kind of things. So that's why I'm gonna ask you again. And then why it's not privy for you to tell us the candidate? Remember, you want to tell us the candidate and then introduce them.
I said I can't tell you that right now, and no political party at any given time until they're ready to do so unleash their slate of candidates, right? That's normal. But the point I'm making is, if the UIC is elected for one seat, that can be consequential. For example, if the election turns out the way we now see a neck and neck situation happening, then the UIC having one or more seats can hold the balance of power in the House, determining who will form the government by having one or more seats. Right? That can happen. In fact, Jamaica has had elections before where it's been extremely close. You've seen that before.
Okay,
in fact,
but I'm going to say something else to that now.
In 2016, the current government had a very slim majority.
They're 1 and 2. Okay.
Right. In 2020 now, they had a super majority for reasons we can discuss otherwise. But the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, when the electorate votes, at that time we'll see whether or not 1 seat or 5 seats or 10 seats can make a significant difference.
Yeah, but the 1 seat now, because you see now, you just tell about the 2 parties, but you'd have to make your mind with one of those same party and to form the next government. No, it wouldn't be 1 because you have 63. So you're going to be 32 unless the map and
yeah, 31.
So even if you have that, then you have to go on one of them. So you see, it's going to put you in a dilemma.
Are you asking me what I would do if I was in that position?
Yes.
Okay, so if we had a split parliament and I was the one person elected on behalf of the UIC, the only party that I would side with is the one that decided to make me the prime minister.
But they will not.
No,
they will not. That's not be a hold on and take. Come number one, I'm 19 and me have 31. You couldn't tell me about the prime minister, rather run back something and think, oh, you will never, because I will tell you something. Go on.
No, that's fine.
You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. Nobody not going to do that. Jamaican.
Hold on. We could do a quick round. Hold on a second. We could do a quick round. Hold on, Mr. Patterson. Gentlemen, listen, we'll do a quick round of questioning here. Mr. Patterson, you're a member of the Capital Club, am I correct?
The Capital Club?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Are you affiliated with it?
No. What is that?
Oh, because on your website it says join the Capital Club. It is our way of giving people a hand up instead of a handout. We provide millions in loans and business development services to farmers, small business, and 1 second, please. Small businesses and micro entrepreneurs. Call 876-487-80 to learn more. Is that an advertisement or is that are you affiliated with it? Because it's on your website.
When you mentioned the Capital Club, I thought you were talking about something other than the Community Capital Club. Which
Hold on 1 second.
So we have a structure in the UIC that we have community capital clubs at the divisional levels across the country. At least that is the idea for us to build these clubs as part of our structure.
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
No, hold on a second, caller. Let Mr. Patterson finish. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Mr. Patterson, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I have been a part of a program called the Capital Club here in Northeast St. Elizabeth, where we gave loans to farmers and small business entrepreneurs and so on. Yes.
No, because the reason I mentioned that is because if you're currently funding for your party, it says here that you provide millions in loans. Don't you provide the funding from the Capital Club to the UIC?
No, the Capital Club is a revolving fund.
It's a what? It's a revolving
fund.
Yeah.
Yes. So what you're doing is lending monies to small and micro entrepreneurs to get their business operations up and running.
All right.
I
won't press on that, but people can go to his website and you can see what the Capital Club is. All right. Let me this. I'll get a call on the line, but before I take the call, do you support prostitution? Does the UIC support prostitution?
No. Well, I don't support prostitution.
No, I didn't ask you. Does the UIC?
The UIC doesn't support prostitution.
It doesn't support prostitution?
So go ahead.
It doesn't support prostitution?
No, we don't support prostitution.
All right, let me read you something from the UIC's website. It says here, it says, therefore, we favor, therefore, we, the UIC, favor the repeal of all laws creating crimes, such as gambling, the use of drug, medicinal, or recreational purposes. I suspect that cocaine might be a part of that. And consensual transactions involving sexual services. That's prostitution.
Yeah.
Yes, report restitution to a degree possible at the expense of the criminal or the negligent wrongdoer. Right? That has, but it says here, right? It says here right now that you do not support laws that that impact consensual transactions involving sexual services. That's prostitution.
No, yes, but we don't support prostitution.
But here's please.
So what we're saying here is that we are not going to have victimless crimes being something we as a government spend our time pursuing and spending your tax dollars and resources pursuing. If you read on, you'll see where we make it very clear that while we respect the right to choose what they do with their own bodies, we may not necessarily subscribe to what they choose to do with their own time. That's a choice you have to make. But we're not going to spend your tax dollars and resources going after persons who decide that they're going to do something which is a victimless crime. It's a crime only because politicians say it's a crime. For example, ganja. For years, we have been criminalizing our people and saying it's a crime for you to grow a plant, a crime for you to process a plant, a crime for you to sell this plant. We said, no, that's a waste of taxpayers' money. Let us go after criminals, people who are doing something bad, using force or fraud to infringe on the life, liberty, or property rights of others. Let's spend our time and effort there, as opposed to going after people just because they make choices we don't like.
Okay, now let me just be clear to the audience. There is a law against prostitution, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And you're saying in your position paper that we want to repeal the law. Is that, am I correct?
We're saying in our position paper that we want to remove all victimless laws.
No, let me read.
And we gave you examples of it.
No, but let me read exactly that. Let me read exactly what's written in your paper. It says, therefore, we favor the repeal of all laws creating crimes without victims, such as gambling, the use of drugs for medicinal or recreational purposes, and consensual transactions in justice. What you're saying, sir, is that you want to take these laws off the books and just let it happen. Because further, if two consenting parties come to agree regarding a contract, then between them. And you're saying it's victimless. But here's where it's not victimless. Here's where it's not victimless. Prostitution leads to a whole bunch of things. It leads to sexual disease. It leads to abuse. It leads to murders. It leads to all kinds of things. You know this.
Well, if you want to have a sociological discussion on prostitution, you can have a different forum for that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the issue here. The issue here is having your government spend your tax dollars and resources going after people for their own personal decisions that they want.
All right, let me ask you a question. So you don't believe that cocaine, for example, for recreation, that government should be involved in that at all? Whatever you decide to do with your body in privacy of your home, that's your business.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, folks, don't my word for it. It's all there, and it's on the title UIC Manifesto and Section Crime Justice. Mr. Tavares, you're next, sir.
Do you still have a caller holding?
Oh, caller.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. Thanks for reminding me.
Okay, I was listening to the conversation. It's interesting. I don't want to call the earlier, having a civil discussion. But yeah, I have a couple of things from Mr. Patterson. Mr. Patterson, what makes you think that your party will have a great chance of forming the next government when we have our third parties before, like Workers' Party for tomorrow, NDM, Bruce Golden, and those were epic failures. Okay, that's one thing I want you to answer. The other thing is, I saw you in Mr. Lonesome's program before, and maybe some other program, and you had some infighting in your party involving money And I think even your wife was involved, and people were saying how much you should be paid, all that type of stuff. I would like to know what occurred with that situation, if people were suspended or people were expelled or whatever. I want you to talk about that. And then my last thing is what Mr. Rattigan was just talking to you about. I think one of your weaknesses is you believe in the laissez-faire concept too much. You're kind of like reading from an economics book. There's no civil or no sovereign government or society that has this laissez-faire stuff. That's nonsense, right? And it's nonsense for this reason. The fact that you have government, you're going to have some type of regulation. The only thing is, when you look at like the PNP and the GOP versus the Republican and the Democratic Party, there are two parties that are on the left. And the both want, it's just the Conservative Party, they want less regulation. So when I listen to you and you talk about minimum wage and that, you know that's not realistic, because you know if the big guys them are setting this stuff, they're going to dominate the poor people. They're basically going to tell them what they should work for. Been fighting that was going on with your party and monies and who should have got this, and that laissez-faire concept that you have, which I think is a weakness for you. Thank you again, Mr. Rattigan.
You're welcome, sir. Thanks, caller. Mr. Patterson?
Yeah, so on the first question of how realistic it is or what chances we have as a political party, that will be decided by the Jamaican people. So we're working hard right now to build the movement and to have satisfaction with Mr. Lonesome, the number of candidates to roll out to you. And so we're building that. And I'm going to leave it to the Jamaican people to decide on two fronts. One front is on whether or not they wish to have a political party which is owned by the people, and another which is whether or not they want to vote for that party. So that answers that question. The second question about infighting in the party and monies and wife and so on, the UIC has gone through an episode where we had some internal challenges, persons who had various views and tried to do many things that sought to destroy my character, defame me, and so on. These things are normal in the political process. Once you get into the arena of politics, you have all kind of dirty things and underhanded things and just disrespectful things that happen. We have gone through it, we have weathered the storm, and we have come out stronger for it. And it's not going to be the last. You're always going to have attempts, internal and external, to discredit us, and you'll see that even on this program. So that's normal. As for the third element that you raised, what was that again, Mr. Rattigan, the third element?
Trying to think. Isn't it what we remember? The third one was, it'll come to me. Jeffrey, you have a question?
Sorry about that. So sorry.
No.
Mm-hmm. You're muted, Jeffrey. You're muted. We're not hearing you.
Mr. Patterson, you said a while ago that on this program people try to discredit you.
No, I'm sorry. The third thing was a laissez-faire.
Right. Let me just deal with Mr. Tavares first. When you get in any sessions where you're, having discussions like these, persons might use the opportunity to try to discredit you. That's normal. On any platform that I go, you'll face that. So you might not do it, and I hope you don't, but it's possible. Now back to the
You said that people on this program, on this platform, trying to discredit you a while ago. You need to answer in order to try to beat, sir.
All right, Mr. Tavares. You can go and replay the tape. Now back to the question.
No. On the program first. But we are on here. Which one of us on this platform tried to discredit you a while ago, sir?
I have no idea. Can we go back to the question? No,
all right, he says he has no idea. But Jeffrey, he has no idea. Let's take it over.
So back to the point of Mr. Jeffrey, calm down, man.
I'm calm down. No, I am calm, but you are saying that we are trying to discredit you. And I'm asking you a simple question, sir. Which one of us was trying to discredit you a while ago?
I don't know.
Oh, you said it a while ago, so why did you say it, sir?
Well, we can debate what I said, but I'm not going to have the time for that. So let's move back to
No. You said it a while ago, sir. You said one of us on this platform tried to discredit you. Which one of us tried to do it, sir?
Okay. Mr. Tavares,
No. You will not cover it this evening. You need to tell the people on this platform and the people who's listening to you, which one of us tried to discredit you a while ago?
As I said before, when you come on any platform, there's a possibility.
No, that's not what you said.
That was my follow-up statement. I said even on this platform.
No.
Mr.
Hold on. All right, hold on 1 second. Hold on. Let me step in here. He said that he made a statement. You've challenged him. He doesn't remember, right? He said he doesn't remember.
No, I didn't say I don't remember. I said I don't know.
You don't know who made it, who tried to disparage you?
My comment was that in the past, people have tried to, not in the question. And I said, even on this platform, people may try to do it. And I said in my follow-up to him, when I go anywhere, you might find persons who seek to use the opportunity to discredit. So that's a normal part of the political affairs. Once you get into politics, this is the norm. People are going to come at you, rightfully or wrongfully. They're going to try to do things to destabilize or to discredit. That's a part of the game.
Hold on, Jeffrey. Maybe that's just something.
Hold on a minute, wait.
Hold on.
That's one thing. It's not discredit, but seem like you don't want to be, Mr. Patterson, you don't want to be like Angelo, who starts a people bad mind and them start. Because it's just question them we ask.
But Mr. You're so right. So Mr. Lonesome, you're very right. People are going to say things, and you have to now decide how to respond. Some people say bad mind for everything. So once a person call them out on anything that says bad mind. And my line, you don't want me now to use another line, say I discredit, right? So
hold on. Jeffrey, finish your point, please.
Yes. Are you prepared to tell the people of this country? How should I phrase this question without seeing that I am trying to create animosity here now?
Hold on, please. All right, while you're thinking about it, while thinking about, we have a caller. Hold that point, Jeff. Caller. Hello?
Oh, sorry. Hold on. I'll answer for him. There is no fusion center in Jamaica, and if there is, tell us where and when it was created. That's all I have to say. He's jumping around and putting up all this stone wall. He should be a mason.
Somehow we got, I think that's a different conversation. But
I didn't have a laser sphere thing.
Yeah.
So can I answer it now, or
you can let Mr. Tavares finish, and then before we move to.
Oh, he didn't remember what he was going to say.
No, I remember.
Oh, you remember? No, go right ahead.
Are you prepared to tell the people of this country? In other words, declare UIC financial statement to the people of this country?
Oh, that's normal.
If you are asking us for donations.
Jeffrey, your mic. There's something wrong with your mic.
Yeah, let me answer Mr. Tavares. The UIC has audited statements done each and every year. Our recent audited statements for the year 2022 have just been completed and will be filed with the ECJ, the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, by the 31st of March, which then makes it public record.
Okay. Herb. Herb. Oh, answer the laissez-faire thing while Herb is.
Okay. The UIC strongly and unequivocally supports protecting our individual sovereignty. We believe each person is a sovereign entity and should be treated as such. We come together to form a sovereign entity, the nation of Jamaica. So our government must protect us as a sovereign country, respect each of us as individuals, and the laws must be so constructed that no government will ever have the opportunity to do what the president attempted to do, to violate our bodily autonomy or the rights and freedoms when it comes on to freedom of speech, freedom of movement, freedom of association, or freedom of choice. Our life, liberty, and property rights must be unquestionably protected in the new constitution
Well,
of
let,
Jamaica.
let me ask you this: Are you? Do you consider yourself a law-abiding citizen of Jamaica?
Of course, yes.
Okay, what the law against protesting without a permit?
Very good question, because like Marcus Garvey, I believe that justice is greater than the law. So whenever the law conflicts with justice, you have every right to break it.
But then that you have anarchy if you have that, because everybody could say, well, this is just, this is my cause is just. So what I'm doing is just, and so the hell with the law.
Justice can be clearly defined, and so we can't each decide what is justice.
But Mr. Patterson, listen, it's a very simple. The requirements are very simple to get a permit. What was this? What was this symbolism of that? Of not and just go ahead and.
That's very simple. Very simple. You should never require a permit in your country to protest against the government. Never.
So people should just protest whenever they feel like, wherever they feel like.
No, it's not about wherever and whatever, because when you protest, you must never violate anybody's property, for example. But you should never have to seek from the very one you need to protest against.
Yeah, but what that tells me is that so I can protest against and block traffic. Is that okay?
No, it's not okay.
Okay, I can protest and I can block pedestrian pathways. Is that okay?
No, that's not okay. No.
All right. Well, let me ask you this: when would it be okay then to protest?
It's always okay to protest once you have a legitimate reason to do so. Now you're asking me about what you do when you protest.
Yeah, because
when you protest, you do not block roads or violate people's property rights or the right to their life or liberty. So protest doesn't mean you do things that destroys public property or prevent you really about your business.
Mr. Patterson, let me ask you this. Think about what you're saying, and I think about the message. Think about the message that you're conveying to Jamaican citizens. That, hey, you know what? If I think that my cause is just, I don't have to submit to the law. I'm just going to go ahead and do what I need to do. And if they arrest me, they arrest me. And this is
I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that.
That's the impact of what you're saying, though, because it's
your
no.
Your
all right,
assumption of the
I
impact.
tell you what.
Let me tell you what I'm saying again clearly for you. Whenever justice conflicts with the law, justice must prevail.
That's your justice.
No, I know. No, of course. No, we can now have a discussion about what is.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's because.
For example, Will Rattigan, if you lived at the time when the law said slavery was, you obey that law, or would you go against that law?
So, you said slavery was okay. Who am I? Am I a landowner? Am I a slave?
No matter who you are, I'm saying to you.
If I'm a landowner,
if you lived at the time when slavery was the law, the law said it's okay for you to own another person as property. Would you, Will Rattigan, oppose that law or obey that law?
It depends on whether a slave owner and abolitionist. No, no, but it's chalk and cheese, because this is nowhere near slavery. This is a simple matter. No, what?
Yeah, you go back. Yes.
No, hold on a second. Let me finish, Mr. Patterson. No, let me finish. No. I think that example is over the top. Listen, this is a public order that we all can agree on. And they're saying, listen.
No, Mr. Rattigan, when you agree that the government must require you to get a permit from them to protest against them, well, I will never agree with that premise.
But hold on a second. Hold on a second. Mr. Patterson, if you go back and look at that act, it's not only protesting against the government. You can protest against all kinds of things. It's saying if you want to protest, here are the things you need to do, right? And I think as somebody who's a leader of this new party, right, that you would want to set some example to say, okay, you know what, we are law-abiding and to comply with that we're going to do. This is nothing like slavery or anything like that.
We did not see it as a matter of simple to comply.
So you can just protest whenever you feel like.
We see it as a violation of our rights.
Just give me one say.
Mr. Lonesome, we can accept that you, Mr. Rattigan, sees it okay, and that's fine because that's what politics is, right? We come to the table and look at it.
Hold on, Lonesome, hold on.
You see it as okay for the law to exist that says you must get permission from the government to protest. You see that as okay. I don't see it as okay. Now, when we go to the electorate can divide between me and those who think otherwise.
Fair enough. Lonesome, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, Lonesome. No, wait. Lonesome. Hold on. Lonesome, hold the point. Jeffrey, quickly. And then Lonesome.
So hold on, Mr. Listen, we're in Canada. Don't you abide by the laws and in Canada?
Of course, yes.
Okay. So you abide by the laws and regulations. Why is it abide by the laws and regulations in Jamaica? And yet you want, and hold on, sir, you want to be a leader of this country, and you don't want to abide by the laws of Jamaica?
You want me to answer now?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, answer. After you answer, Mr. Lonesome, we'll have it.
Yeah, when I lived in Canada, when I lived in Canada, I have never had any occasion where I felt it necessary to break a law. So in September 21, when my government of Jamaica was attacking my rights and freedoms and that of the Jamaican people, I felt it necessary to break that law. No, you may have chosen otherwise. That's okay. This is where you are free to make that choice. And I am free to say I will.
Mr. Patterson, any other modern democracy, you have to abide by the laws of the land. And if you want to become a political leader in Jamaica, where you are leading the UIC, then God help us if you become prime minister in this country.
Hold on, Jeffrey. Lonesome, go ahead.
All right, so Mr. Patterson, in particular, why not just for the get the the prime minister, then legislation and change the law?
So we're talking about the past, all right? The past was on September 22nd, 2021, when I led a demonstration.
No, because we don't want to talk again.
No, so I led a demonstration because as an honored citizen, I felt it necessary to do so. What is clear is that you felt it was okay for things to be the way they were and for the government to do what they did. I didn't feel so.
No, we never said that. No, we never said that.
I'm trying to understand your premise here. So
no, but what they're saying, what I'm saying to you.
Let me clarify. Let me clarify. I've said it before. I have chosen to say I am against the notion.
Have you chosen to break it? Okay.
I'm against the notion of any government saying I must get a permit from them to protest against them. You're okay with that? That's fine.
No, I know you see, I just asked you, you say I'm not okay with nothing like that. But tell me what, I rather someone go there and change the law, but I'm not going to be a lawbreaker.
Wayne, if you think about it,
yes,
through the history of mankind, if you wait,
no, we're not to the history. You just say, you just tell me said that done already. So you go to the history of mankind, we don't want to do that.
Wayne, yes, you have to be prepared to listen. So
yes, man.
Throughout the history, wait, hold on, listen, man, calm down. Throughout the history of mankind, throughout the history, we the people of Vatican's waited time and change the law. We would not have any time. We would have been exterminated.
Oh, but I just said that gone already in the just said that when 2021, but you just tell me the history of mankind gone millions of years or thousands of years. That's what you're going forward and what people. That's why I just I don't want to go back there, so because you just I say you're
I like to learn from the past. You see? I like to learn.
But that's why I say make we just all right, just be the law, try get a candidate, put them in that we can run, that we can form the next government, and then change the law.
That is being done. As of in 2021,
yes,
I did what I did, and I told you the premise on which I did it. In 2023, I'm doing what I am doing, and you can ask me in a few months or years' time what was the premise of 2023.
So when we come and introduce I know you have 2 years till election, 2025, right? So you're not going to introduce these people to the constituencies, to the constituents in the constituencies. That means them can get familiarized with them. That means them can get, get to know them better. That means they will come vote for them. When that going to happen?
In due course.
Okay, all right. Herb, hold on a second, Lonesome. Herb, go ahead with the question.
Yeah. Just wanted to ask him concerning permission to protest. What happens when a larger group, a counter protest, pops up and your team out there protesting gets assaulted or, God forbid, gets killed? Because are you saying is that's the type of lawlessness you look forward to, or what?
Absolutely not. When you have a protest, whether it is permitted or not permitted, anything can go wrong. You can have persons who are violent, you can have persons who want to instigate violence. That's normal. The fact that we're going to respect the rights of citizens to protest doesn't mean that we are inviting or encouraging anarchy or anything like that. We're saying it's your right. The right to protest without getting permission from the government to do so.
All right. My question, originally that I wanted to pose, you mentioned the PSOJ funds the 2 major parties, and that a certain degree of vote buying that occurs. Are you aware of the vote buying? Because a lot of videos were out. If the PSOJ of impact with federal vote to the country is tied up, how do you plan to use a grassroots movement that would have to be pretty much, I would say, 40% of the country that you would have to influence within that grassroots movement to ensure that you're not competitive? The numbers, man, you push the numbers because you need 40% to exceed the 30-odd% that's tied up between the 2 parties. Would you say?
Right. So you have mentioned a number of things there which needs to be unpacked. So first of all, the PSOJ doesn't directly fund vote buying. Going on it. What the PSOJ does is to fund the 2 parties equally for the most part. Have the money to do it. The UIC is hoping that intelligent people like yourself will say, well, let's change that. Let us organize a political movement where we unify desperate groups and raise funds among ourselves, from our people, local and international. And we use that to our grass to win the election. Of course, you'll have to have a ground game. All the political parties must have a ground game. They must have, what will you put in terms of PD by PD? What will you do in terms of division by division? And that's another story. We can talk about the technical pieces and the strategy. But overall, it's basically raising funds in a different model, using that crowdfunding to lead a strong campaign, and the people buy into our plan to make Jamaica into a true republic and to make the changes that we talk about.
Go ahead, Herb. You have another question?
No, I was going to ask him if at the time is, I think Wayne just said 2025 is the next scheduled election. So let's say the start of 2024, would your slate of candidates begin to identify themselves, identify their sources of funding, and speak to their constituents? As you said, they have to come out of the constituency that they are representing. You said that.
Yes, I did. Yes, I said that for sure. Yes.
So are they ready? Are they going to be ready to go January 2024? Because they can call election at any time, basically next year.
Yes, matter of fact, the Prime Minister can call the election anytime this year. I mean, there's nothing stopping him from doing that. The law allows him to do that. Yes, the law allows the president to call anytime he wants. So the UIC is continuing its work at the grassroots level, locally and internationally, to win the support and confidence of Jamaicans as donors, as volunteers, as members, and as candidates. And so, should the Jamaican people, home and abroad, respond in the way that we're hoping they will respond, then we'll be able to successfully change the two colonial parties and
something, Mr. Patterson. If you get the state of candidate that the people overseas, that we in the diaspora can see them on the ground, then we will respond in a more time, but we're not seeing them. We don't even see one of them. Different from you as the face. That's why I asked you. The Prime Minister can call election 2 months, general election.
You can call it anytime. Anytime.
Right,
if they don't out there, what's going to happen?
So
we're going to contribute
no
one on the ground.
Let me see if I can answer your question directly.
Please.
Because you have been really pressing, and I know why you're pressing. You want to know who are all of these candidates.
Yes.
And you want to see all of these candidates.
Of course.
You want to see them working. You want to see them across all divisions.
Yes.
And then that will give you confidence now to help us do what is necessary.
That is it.
Yes. Now, what I've been saying to you and all Jamaicans is that you have to decide whether you wait for the fire to be lit or you help to light the fire. Yeah? So what I have invited all of us to do, self-included, let's help to build the fire. Let us get the firewood and let's help to build the fire. Don't just wait on Mr. Patterson. You, Wayne Lonesome, for example, can say, I have a person who I think is suitable to run for candidacy in St. Catherine Northwest, for example, where I think you're from. And you can work with your people there and say, me want a man for run. I am tired of PNP and GLP. And you can help to form that situation and help to bring this person forward.
Mr. Patterson.
The UIC is open to, one second, Mr. Rattigan. The UIC is open to you and all Jamaicans to do what is best for Jamaica. Now, of course, we can choose a different way. We can all step back and say, let us see what the UIC are going to do. And at the end of the day, we shall end up with merely what we've always had, the two colonial parties running our government.
All right, let me ask you this. I'm going to make a statement and then I'm going to ask you a question. I do practice immigration law. And one of the things I'd like to let people know is that if they follow you, and I shouldn't, I'm just telling them that if they follow you and protest and they get arrested, they have a criminal record, when they apply to go to certain places, that will show up and it could affect their ability to travel to those places. So people, if just think about that when you're going out with Mr. Patterson, the fact that you could get a criminal record and that criminal record could hinder your ability to travel to places like the United States. Now, here's a question. Do you believe in the judiciary?
No, when you asked the question, my mind was still caught up with your comments a while ago. And it makes me wonder, what is our real purpose and intentions here? What are we trying to achieve here today? It could be that we want to make sure that we vet the UIC president properly and we vet the UIC's manifesto properly.
That's right.
And that we help the Jamaican people.
That's right.
We help the Jamaican people to understand and the movement and lend our support to the better Jamaica. Or it could be that we do not want that. We want something else, whatever that something else is. Now, if we drive fear into the heart of the Jamaican people and say, do not stand up for your rights in the way that Mr. Patterson proposes, we have a better way to stand up for your rights. The way Mr. Patterson is proposing is that whatever the government tells you to do, that is what you should do. Mr. Patterson is saying no, that, and he's dangerous because, boy, him will tell you to break the law. If you break the law, you might not be able to travel. Now, when when Mr. Pat led some 500 people on September 22nd, 2021, there were some serious issues going on in Jamaica. That was a special moment. That's not a everyday moment where you just get up and go here, protest or whatever. That was a very special moment in our history. A moment where, in my opinion, we were the edge of our government leading us down a path that could be quite catastrophic for us as a people. And I decided that, unlike many, I'm going to stand up and go forward and ask us to say to the government, hell no, we're not going to allow this to happen. That was a special moment. That's not an everyday kind of situation. And so I would do the same thing all over again if our government ever again bring us to that point where they endanger the lives and livelihood of the Jamaican people in a serious way that requires us to rise up. I can only imagine how Paul Bogle, Sam Shaw, and those great men and women must have felt when they had to rise up against a tyrannical government, facing the possibility of being killed by their own government of the day. So I make no apologies for what I've done.
All right, Mr. Patterson.
And at the same time, I encourage us to be careful what message we telegraph to our citizens.
No, Mr. Patterson, Mr. Patterson, if you remember carefully, all I said, I'm not telling you don't follow you. I'm just telling people that just think about what you're doing for the future. If you don't need to travel and you're not worried about a criminal, fine. Don't work up to you. I'm not telling them to do or not do. I'm just telling them think. Now, the question I ask is, do you believe in the Jamaican judiciary?
Right. Good. Yes. Yes. I do not have a great deal of confidence in the Jamaican governance system, including the legislature and the judiciary or the executive branch.
Talk to me about the judiciary. Just talk to me about the judiciary.
No, so I don't have confidence.
You don't have confidence. Okay. So you don't have confidence in the law, in some of the laws, right? Because I believe you would subscribe to some of the laws, but not all of them.
Right? Yeah, of course. I mean, there are always, it's not all of it bad.
Right.
But,
So I have no confidence in it. Two questions. If you have no confidence in it, then why subscribe to a hearing? Why not then say, hey, you know what? I don't believe in this law and I'm protesting it. And guess what? I have no confidence in the judiciary. So guess what? I'm not showing up for court. The hell with them. They want to. That's why don't you ignore the court? And the second thing is, in your manifesto, you say common law right of juries to judge not only the facts, but also the justice of the law. So you're saying we don't need judges now for court cases. We need juries. I'll read it. You said, the presumption of innocence until proven guilty must be preserved. We assert the common law right of juries to judge not only the facts, but also the justice of the law.
So what did you deduce from that? You deduce that I'm saying to do away with judges?
Well, you tell us, what are you saying? But answer the first question first. Answer the first question first.
You're raising it.
Please answer the first question first.
And what was the first question?
First question was, since you don't believe in certain laws and you don't have no confidence in the judicial system, why do you submit yourself then to a hearing?
Absolutely. So I have little confidence in our justice system, but I do hope that in some cases they prove themselves to be worthy of the calling.
And that's your answer?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, we'll answer the second question then now. This common law is about juries judging facts and the justice of the law.
Your deduction from it is faulty. It
okay.
Does not,
Maybe it's written poorly. But go ahead.
Any one of them is possible, but it doesn't mean what you have implied.
All right, what does it mean?
Oh, it means that the jury must be involved in not just saying guilty or not guilty, also acting the law. It means is the law, the decision being just or unjust.
But that's what they do. That's what juries do. They make a decision.
No, they don't talk about justice. And
have you ever served in a jury pool?
In a jury pool? No, I've not.
Okay. Next question.
Is he
Go-
talking about jury nullification?
No, he's not talking about jury nullification.
No,
It's on the website. You can go ahead and you can read it, but I don't want to kill him with that. Herb.
The manifest is on the website,
yeah.
and you can read it and see what it says. But you can draw
Good.
conclusions that are not accurate yet.
Right. Well, the reason why I do that is because I've been around juries many times, and I'm very familiar with the process.
I know your background.
So,
Yeah, we have
okay,
different backgrounds,
all right,
so I
fine.
understand.
Jeffrey.
But
Yes.
reading-
Good afternoon again, Mr. Patterson.
Yes, good afternoon.
You said that the UIC is different. Going to be different from the two political party of the colonial movement. My question to you: what you have is the UCIC loan monies to people in St. Elizabeth and so forth, or is it a company that you have?
So you're talking about the UIC.
Yeah, I'm asking you. You said that there's a company that
No,
loans.
You
Is it
you mentioned a name I couldn't identify, which I want to be clear. You're talking about the UIC.
Yes.
For an event. In terms of the Capital Club that you're talking about, that was a business that I operate in Northeast St. Elizabeth, where I offered loans to small and micro entrepreneurs.
Okay. Are you prepared with that company and the UCIC? Are you prepared to make the financial statements of the party to the people? You want to be, Mark, you said you're going to be different. So I'm asking you, are you prepared now to make the financial statements of the UCIC public to Jamaica who want to vote for you and who want to contribute to you?
Yeah, it seems if you're not hearing properly, but
I am hearing
we are the UIC. Let me say it again, the UIC, United Independence Congress of Jamaica. And as I said to you earlier in the day when you asked the question, maybe a little differently, we have audited financial statements that are produced every year and submitted to the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, which makes public record.
Asking you, are you to put it on the website that we all can see?
Oh, there's no problem at all in putting it on the website.
All right, hold on. Let me jump in here for a second. We have some views in the chat room. One person is saying we're debate about Jamaica trying to have the right to peacefully protest without a permit. In Canada and the USA, you do not need permission to protest. That's not true. You need a permit to protest. I don't know about Canada, but the USA, you need a permit. And the other thing is that, and somebody says that saying should not protest as much as want. But what I'm also saying is that there is a framework within which you protest. Now, if you don't like the people, you elect representatives. So when you elect them with a message and you tell them go to Parliament and repeal the law. But as long as the law is there saying that you comply all the time, they repeal. In fact, not only do they repeal, they amend the Constitution all the time. So there are ways that you can actually go and address this issue without taking it upon yourself to deliberate. And in this case, it was deliberately done. He said it. He said it. It wasn't a case where somebody said, "Oh, I didn't know you need a permit." He said, "No, this is a just cause that we're fighting for, and we don't think we should have a permit to protest in." I'm saying for order in a civil society, you're going to have some kind of regulation regard people right to assemble, i.e., a protest. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying nobody. I'm in fact, I support the Patterson's right to protest, and I'll support it till the day I die. All I'm saying to him is that if you don't like the struggle that you have to protest, then change it. That's all I'm saying.
What I do, I could carry them. I could file a lawsuit against it.
Oh, yeah. In fact, Mr. Patterson, you'd have good company because Mr. Lonesome is not afraid of filing lawsuits. So maybe you should align with him and he'll file the paperwork to things change. Let me run back to Herb, but we haven't heard much from Herb. Herb.
Yeah. I'm looking at a different aspect of how you're approaching this thing, because I don't believe you're going to be a victor depending on grassroots changes. They would take you next 30 years and it would never happen. Not the way the country is corrupt, right? How could you deal with the corruption in the country right now, using your skills as an auditor? What could you contribute to the questioning of the banking system, as well as even in the judicial system, to take a look at some of the decisions that are being made, whether it's policy or whether it's court decisions that let the big man off the hook, right? How would you begin to combat the corruption we're suffering from? I think people would like to hear that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nelson. The issue of corruption in Jamaica has been heavily ventilated by talk show hosts for years, and they've brought in persons of notable esteem, and they've spoken about it from left, right, and center. It is my settled conviction that until we take a strong political position and release ourselves from the grips of these two colonial parties and those who have backed and funded them over the last 80 years, then we'll only be talking. We'll have incremental successes where we come close to, for example, convicting somebody. We may even convict one or two. We may have new to the laws, and they'll find another loophole, or they'll build the law with its own loopholes, and it will continue. I've decided to focus my energy and effort at the political solution rather than the talk shows.
All right, before you come on, let me just say this, that Mr. Patterson, I did ask your folks if you would be willing. In fact, I said to them, tell us the areas that you don't want us to ask questions about. I was being very, very generous and very fair. And this is how I treat my guests. I said, if there's some things you don't want to talk about, then let us know and we'll avoid that. They responded, we can talk about anything. So, everything's on the table. So I just wanted to And the second thing
I didn't know, by the way, what you had said. I didn't know that.
Right. But and then the other thing is that somebody's saying that, you have a right to protest, and the police, when they only give the issue permits to who they want, and that's why we have court system, because if the police it's determined that they want permits, then there is a course for relief. Somebody
I know you know better than this. Honestly.
You do not need a permit. No, I thought you would have known better by saying, look, if you want to challenge the law, then there are ways to do it. You challenge it in Parliament, you challenge it in court.
I hope you know better than this. But your point of argument, your point of reasoning is quite logical and well put.
No, but that's fine. But I've got people.
However, the reality that we live in significantly contradicts your proposition.
But here's the thing. Somebody just said you do not need a march in the streets or on sidewalks in the USA as long as marchers do not obstruct car or pedestrian traffic. Now tell me, how are you going to do a protest without obstructing cars or pedestrian traffic? And that's why you go to the police, and one of the first things they ask is, how many people will you have in your group? And then they say you need a permit. Because you cannot, if you have 500 people, I don't care what country you're in, 500 people watching, you cannot tell 500 people might affect car, pedestrian traffic, something. It's going to. And there's no way. Yeah, and there's no way.
You're totally right, Mr. Rattigan. If you have more than one or two persons in a protest, you're going to have some level of traffic challenges, with other users of the sidewalk, other users of the road. You're going to challenge the space. So it's a given fact. What we would differ is that why you subscribe to getting a permit to do it, I do not.
And
So,
that's fine, and that's
so we're
right.
clear.
And I respect
Yes,
that. I respect that. I was just probing as to see if the reasoning behind why you wouldn't submit to it.
Oh,
And I
well, the
understand.
reasoning is we believe it is counterproductive to seek permission from the government to protest against them.
No,
we don't think that's going to be very, and we've seen that in countries where those laws have been used very effectively to suppress
Right.
protest. So the truth is there are reasonable factors that you're raising in any democracy or any governance model. How to deal with protecting the rights of citizens versus what one might see as being the best kind of arrangement.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, because it seems to me as if your focus is on the government. And I see where you're going. You're saying, how can you ask the government for a permit to protest against the government? Well, let me ask you this. How about asking the government for a permit to protest against a company? Because you said that whatever they do in their business, the government should have no role in it. So is that the argument that
protesting, if you're
against a company?
When it's on protesting, the UIC is 100% opposed to violence, any form of violence. Now, if you're into protest against a company without doing anything that is violent or seriously obstructing traffic and seriously obstructing the people that go in and out of the company, that's a problem.
Oh.
But you can protest otherwise.
Okay. So now you have, let's say, a great articulate figure like in Jamaica, and they managed to amass 1,000 people to march against a company, not the government. And so they said, we don't need any permit. And now they're in Crossroads, 1,000 people, and they're marching up the street. Should that be broken up, or should they just allow them to just go ahead with it?
Well, that's where leadership comes in. Now, some governments may take a position that is very heavy-handed and which creates more problems than it solves. And there are other governments who can handle the situation in a way that
your government, how would your government handle that? Because you don't believe in permits. How would you handle that? No, let me make it even better. 10,000 people marching in Crossroads, and they say we're marching all the way up to Ligani or wherever, and they're marching 10,000 people. No, you're in charge. You're in charge of the government. What's your stance on that?
Well, a lot of the stance will depend on what's really happening here. Let's say there's a serious injustice that was done to someone by the company, for example. Then you have to decide how best to approach. For example, we might have to claim the company to say, listen, let's address this in a way that deflates the situation.
Hold on, Mr. Patterson, let me stop. I'm sorry to interrupt, but let me stop you there. Remember now, when you're under your government, we don't need a permit, so people won't know this is going to happen. It happens organically. And then all of a sudden now, you wake up morning, 10 people march up to say, well, we're going to call a meeting and say, I'll bring the company in.
Mr. Rattigan, when people decide to protest, whether or not there is a requirement for a permit, if the situation is so grievous that the people are aroused, it's leadership now that is going to address how well you contain and manage the situation. The UIC is not for you requiring a permit to protest, but it absolves us of our responsibility as leaders to effectively manage the situation.
Mr. Patterson, thank you for that answer. Mr. Lonesome, please go ahead, sir.
Yes. All right. So, Mr. Patterson, so if you say you're going to manage, then the other rest of it now, I'm going to manage.
When you say the same thing, no, you can't answer that. Same thing means doing the same thing. We're not doing the same thing. So there
no, man, even with the crowd or whatever, you say manage, because you're going to have police and things going to come.
Manage doesn't mean.
But anyway, let me just pass on to that.
No, Mr. Lonesome,
keep on saying.
No, you're not going to get over with that. Manage, there are, in any situation,
yes, you
have different kind of leaders. You have leaders who will crack skull and leaders who will negotiate settlements in a way that is amicable, for everyone.
But the police not going to negotiate and settle because
it depends on the leadership of your police.
Mhm.
Of your government.
All right, okay, all right. So when you're addressing the other two parties, you said 78 years, right?
No, I said
you're 78, right?
79.
79 years, and I'm not with that because we know Jamaica just turned 60, I got 61, and that's true. But you know, your party, only you say party is now 10 years.
So, Mr. Lonesome, okay, let's
10 years, right?
Yeah, we start 2013.
10 years. So 10 years. And what's the progress for the whole 10 years now we're moving? That's what we want the candidates, you know. We want to see them because as I said before, and it's very serious, we have to vet, we start vet people. It's like how we see the government move, so. And when we are run down by each of them, grieve Jamaican people. So we want, you know, forget about the moving. That's why I'm going to ask you, what's the amount of candidate ready? You turned to me, you said, all right, me supposed to can select a candidate. By the way, I'm not from St. Catherine, from East Kingston, right? Yeah. So,
no, I can't when you say your area.
No. East Kingston, my place.
I thought the connection with.
No, I have connection all over the place, but East Kingston, my
apologies, yes. Right.
Okay, good. All right, so that's why we want to know the candidate because we know it's okay. For all of this, if you talk for a political party, first of all, what people elect. Because if we even talk and ask what we're going to do, police and everything, it's going to go in vain if we don't have candidates and we don't get them elected and don't get that them can represent. I'm right or wrong? Am I right or wrong?
You are wrong.
So you can tell me I'm wrong? Yes, so if you don't get elected as candidate, how you going to run? How you going to be a government?
You're very wrong.
How are you going to be a government?
So you want me to speak now? You want me to respond?
Yeah, I don't mean I understand that. Yes,
so you're wrong. So what you're trying to suggest to your viewers is that the UIC is not worth much consideration until we have all our candidates in place. Let me finish now. Let me finish. My proposition is that we, the people, need to build this party, and we must encourage our communities to rise up and support respective persons as candidates.
So you say me wrong.
Hold on. It's a matter of whether you have the chicken or the egg. So your proposition is Joseph Patterson.
It's not the proposition, it's a fact.
No, so make him finish. Make Mr. Patterson finish. Go ahead, Mr. Patterson.
Your proposition is Joseph Patterson must come forward with a fully formed, complete, immaculate, everything put together.
I never said me immaculate, don't put word in my mouth. I said, like, you know, remember, I know we are talking about government. Please.
Yes. I like to listen to you, you know, and then I like to listen to you. So we're not going to have a fully formed grassroots movement where everything is in place to satisfy you.
Not me. It's
hold on. Let me finish.
I mean, anyone, one second, Mr. Rattigan. I mean, anyone who is having the kind of ideas that the UIC is open to you and all Jamaicans to help to make it what we want to be. Now, if the person or and saying to themselves, wait a minute, so you mean I can get up and go to the UIC and say, and here's my support in my community, and I have a chance. They're not just coming to just put somebody on this one and say, this is your representative. You're looking forward to your grassroots involvement, your community, and you coming forward, or your community putting you forward and saying, we want this man here or this woman here to represent us. You're saying that you don't like that approach. You prefer the one where we come with everybody and we're well funded.
No, I'm not saying that. That means you get everything wrong. What I'm saying. All right. Then, all right, let us explain. Let us rephrase.
No, we don't have much time. We don't have much time. So we don't have much time.
So you have a party, and remember, we want to form the next committee. That means we have to have candidate. That means when election call, we're ready. And that means people can vote for your candidate and vote you in. And then you form the government, but we can't form it with the empty hand. So when you say me wrong, me not wrong because we don't have the candidate. You tell me to somebody now. I can't say me wrong. We don't have all of these candidates.
No, we have discussed this a million times so far. I said.
So you tell me the farm.
No, but you're wrong, because I'm trying to tell you the model we're following. The model we're following.
That means it's not farm yet.
The grassroots. You are saying you want to see everything. No.
No, it's not everything. Just tell me what you have now. If you have 10 candidates, then you have more.
So you that no.
The party.
I told you before.
Come on now, man.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on. Lonesome. Yeah, Mr. Patterson. Mr. Patterson, hold on 1 second. Mr. Patterson, hold on 1 second. Mr. Patterson did say he's not at liberty to mention any of that to us right now at this point. So we just have to accept that. We just have to accept that and move on.
At a party, 10 years.
Yeah, but that's his position. But that's his position. I'm just not going to talk about it. So we just. But let me ask you a question that I think he can answer. Let me think.
Talk to you now.
Yeah.
Or me go donate to because I want to donate to a candidate. What's the name?
Yeah, no, you're donating to the organization at this point. No, I must say I donate to the organization, not to a candidate at this point.
No, I want to donate to a candidate.
All right, well, look, Mr. Patterson, Mr. Patterson has heard you, and I'm sure he'll talk to his committee members, and they'll come up with a plan so that you can start a fund. No. All right, fine. He understands that. But let me ask you this before I bring Herb in and Jeff. Yeah. We don't have much time left. Mr. Patterson, everybody want to tell you. Everybody has a breaking point. Like an old law school professor told me one time, everybody bought. You need to know what it is. That's what he said to me. But let's stick with the mantra that everybody has a breaking point. What's your point if this thing doesn't, because it's been 10 years and it doesn't seem to be galvanizing as much as maybe you hope for, but I shouldn't speak for you, but maybe as other people hope for. So what's your breaking point to say, you know what, I've done enough and it's not working out, or I channel my energies elsewhere?
If I had a breaking point,
so you don't have one? You don't have a breaking point?
If I had a breaking point, I certainly wouldn't be sharing it.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, fine. well, you do have a breaking point. So what you're telling me is that you're not going to share it.
If I had a breaking point.
We all have a breaking point, sir.
No, I'm not going to debate whether I have or have not. I'm saying if I even had a breaking point, I would not be sharing that in this.
You know what you sound like to me?
Yes.
You sound like the CIA to me.
Okay.
That's it.
Well,
we neither confirm nor deny that, you know what I mean? But that's a joke, by the way. I hope you.
I've not dealt with the CIA. So
no. I've dealt with them. Lots. But that's a private joke. People don't take it seriously. But that's fine. I accept your answer, sir.
By the way,
Herb.
Go ahead.
No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, I was just going to say that as challenging as some of the questions are, I really appreciate them.
Okay, no worries. Herb.
Okay, all right. You have won the election, right? In 2025, and you're taking over. How do you address the various Donmanship, whether it's Ken Don or Danai or whoever is running whatever parish? How do you address that, and how do you address the fact that they're in control of MPs, or the MPs may be in control of them? Give us a scenario in how you're going to deal with that problem, because these are basically your local government. They're doing more for their people than the local government is doing for them. So give me a scenario how you would deal with that.
Well, the question that you raised speaks to a painful reality that we're suffering in Jamaica, where gang leaders and people activities are leadership role at the parochial level, in a way that you describe as they are the local government. Well, that shouldn't be. How I will deal with it is something that I can tell you the details here, but I can say this. I believe much of what we consider to be crime problem here in Jamaica is driven by persons who are in very strong top positions, to a top-down approach. And some of it was alluded to before on this forum, like identifying the, where people get their assets from, and making sure you have proper declarations and you get proper insights into that. When you get into that forensically, you'll be able to find a lot of the problems by removing those at the top who are heavily engaged in this kind of stuff. The gang leaders require a system of governance that facilitates them. And when you dismantle that system and that safety, they become exposed. And when you support the police and empower the police from the top down, then you now have in place the kind of institution that can systematically go through and rid us of that problem.
But you do realize, sir, that they control elements of the police, even at the district level, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So you have to drill down from the top. So it's not going to be easy. All of what we're talking about here is not going to be easy. It's going to be very difficult. But the first step in fixing the crime problem in Jamaica is recognizing that the two major parties are the source of that problem. They generated it, and as long as you have them input and never have approach to solving the crime problem in Jamaica.
So just real quick here, the Prime Minister and the decision made by the folks at the Integrity Commission, where the Prime Minister still has an open case against him, albeit that they said that they wouldn't prosecute in fairness because it's taking too long. Is that how you feel about the law? And what would you do differently to change that situation?
Very good question. I was very disappointed with the position taken by the Integrity Commission, its Director of Corruption Prosecution. I think that was the wrong approach. I don't think there is any statute of limitation on the matters in question. Right. And I think it would have done justice to the Jamaican people if the case had gone to court and allowed the court to determine whether or not the Prime Minister was guilty or innocent. I think the way Jamaica is structured, these are normally the outcomes of these matters. They get away with it. If I were the government of the day, this would have to go to court if the legal boundaries allowed that to happen. And I understand that the Director of Corruption Prosecution was operating within the boundaries. If you give people these kind of latitude, you can get these results. I believe in a system that's more codified to prevent that kind of latitude. If you have a certain degree of evidence, you proceed and have that take its natural course, and let us see where it falls. I don't know if the Prime Minister is absolutely guilty or innocent, but based on what has been released so far, it is quite damning, and I think the Jamaican people deserves a more transparent approach to justice than what has been served so far.
Mr. Patterson, I want to tell you that I'm listening to you carefully, and there are some things that I agree with you on in principle, and there are some things that I disagree with you on in principle, but we still maintain a level of decorum and respect. And I have to tell you that that last point you made, I agree with you 1,000%.
Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Patterson, if you don't have your candidates ready, no, that's serious business.
There's something wrong with your mic. There's something wrong with your mic. We're getting a scrap.
Jeffrey, they're not my candidates. Before you speak, let me clarify something, Rattigan. One thing.
Sure.
I think we misunderstand the purpose of the UIC. The UIC is not my party. The candidates are not my candidates. The UIC is, for all intents and purposes, consider it a gift from me to Jamaica. I've spent my time, my energy, and my money to create this opportunity for us, the people, to embrace and to use it as our vehicle to dismantle the two colonial parties' grip on our government. So if we decide to take up the challenge, then we will provide the candidates, including yourself, Mr. Tavares. If you should decide that you want to do more than talk and you want to now get actively engaged in solving the problem, you can come make we fix the situation.
No, but hold on a minute.
Or we can continue the trajectory of having a whole multiplicity of talkers from back when to now, where we talk, and we allow the two parties to continue to steal our resources and deny us the prosperity which we seek.
Hold on a minute, Mr. Patterson. Hold on. You are the one who has a party from over how many years now coming up, you know? You put yourself to be the president of the UIC. So how is it that you, hold on, Mr. Patterson, I allow you to speak. How is it that you at this present moment have no candidates at all? You're not willing to tell us. Don't forget me. Forget me, Mr. Dominic. You're not willing to tell us now about the candidates, Mr.
Jeffrey, we just have to, that one, I think we just have to walk away from that one because he said it several times. It's not at liberty to discuss that with us at this point. And we just have to take it at that. So if you have another question, then that's fine. Herb, go ahead.
Right, at what point do you have to declare your candidates? Maybe that would give us more recognition.
Very good question, Mr. Nelson. And by the way, I thoroughly enjoy not only your questions, but the way you frame them, Mr. Nelson. I'm saying I particularly enjoy Mr. Nelson's question.
Go ahead,
so, when the election is called, the electoral office is going to call whoever the president is of the UIC. And at that time, he or she must declare who the candidates are.
Let me ask you this.
Hold on. I'm not saying that's when we are going to do it. I'm saying Mr. Nelson is asking when must we do it? And I'm telling you that under the current system, when the election is called, the ECJ, through the office of the EOJ, will give me a call if I am the president then. And my job is to certify who the candidate is at that time. And by way of example, in the 2016 election, in my constituency of Northeast St. Elizabeth, when the election was called, the then opposition party at the last minute decided on a candidate that they were going to place to run against me in Northeast St. Elizabeth. And they made that decision just a few weeks before the actual election.
Okay.
And that candidate almost won the seat.
All right. Let me ask you this. We don't have much time. We have about 6 minutes left. Following up on Herb's question, Jeffrey's question, Mr. Lonesome's questions, does the UIC plan to field a full state and the entire country, or just a limited number of people?
Very good question, and it's one that a number of persons have asked. We have to be strategic about that. We continue to monitor the situation and evaluate what will be the most appropriate action process.
I have a question because we're running out of time. We only have less.
Right. That's for the general election. Local government election will come up early next year. You have a state of candidate for that also.
So please bear in mind that in both.
That's important, That's Mr. Patterson, what we are saying. Without candidates, it come like a win.
All of your questions.
Yes.
Appreciated. So what I want to remind Jamaicans is that both local and general elections can be called at any time. The window is just the maximum. So the maximum window for local government is February next year. The maximum window for general is, I think, October 2025, if my memory serves me right. Okay? So the UIC is taking the same approach to the general as we are to the local in terms of disclosing our candidates.
Because I wouldn't mind interviewing two of them and make people start knowing them and everything. That's why I'm asking, you know. But you know, you give me their name. And we have help you now. Curious funding.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Very important call. Let me take this call. 1 second. Hold on for a second.
Okay.
Yes, man.
All right, listen, Mr. Patterson. Oh. All right, we have literally minutes left, like 4 minutes. So now here's a question to ask you. Is there a question you would like to ask us?
Oh, I would like to ask if any of you here would find it useful to help to build the UIC so that Jamaica has an alternative to the two colonial parties that now exist.
All right, Herb, you go first.
It's always been my intention to support a viable, and keyword is viable, party that I assess that will be effective in breaking up the two-party system, make it a lot more competitive, while holding everybody accountable. So if that's the road that the UIC, then you have my support. But you know, it takes a while to assess all of that.
Okay, Lonesome. You finish right? Lonesome.
See the one again, you want to see the candidates, you want to see the way the party going and everything before you get on board. You don't get on board on an empty ship. You want other people not on the ship and the ship move. So you get on board fully. You understand? So we want to see candidates.
Okay, Jeffrey.
Well, I hope you all can hear me. My views in it, that Mr. Patterson hasn't sold me the party for me to say, okay, I will be a part of the UIC. And I can make something clear to you, because I already said something earlier on about that, you know, I'm not a member of any political party in my country. None whatsoever. My gearbox smash up. I don't see wherein right now you are selling the UIC to me for me to say, okay, I'm gonna get on board.
All right, tell him what could he do to sell it to you?
First get the candidates and introduce them to me and CV.
When I was a part of the National Democratic Movement, all right, I was a part of it.
Jeffrey, we don't have much time. Just tell Mr. Patterson, what could he do to attract you to the party?
If you can abide by the law of land, two, bring all the candidates together for me to look at the candidates and say, okay, fine. Basically, that's it for me.
Okay. All right. Let me just make a quick comment here and then we'll just close up. Mr. Patterson, let me just say that I'm never one for party. I'm all about people and policy, but you have to do it within a certain construct, right? But from what I'm seeing, as Lonesome points out all the time, there's one government at a time under the Westminster system. And so I'm focused on this government, and I don't think it's doing right by the people. So I'm focused on the issues, I'm focused on the policies, and I'm focused right there. So them people will come from right there. That's where I came from. And those people, they've been suffering under both parties. They've been suffering, mostly under this party right now, they're suffering. And so it would be refreshing to have a party that comes up with big, bold ideas about changing the culture, changing the society, changing everything, provided that these people are taken care of. These people are my responsibilities. These people are my concern. These people are my focus. And if you can do that, if you can come up with something that demonstrates to me this is where it is more than what I've seen so far. I've seen some things that are attractive, but as I said, I have my questions about it. And for, one person said to me that they've never seen a manifesto for this party. Just go to their website. The manifesto is there. I read it. It's there. And you can read it and you can have the comments. Mr. Patterson, it's been a pleasure having you, sir. I look forward to seeing you.
Do I get to respond to your...
Well, we don't have much time. We have a minute. Go ahead.
One quick response. You're all welcome to help to make the UIC what you want it to be.
Thank you very much, sir. And with that,
Thank you.
people, we're going to leave Mr. Patterson. We'll have him maybe tomorrow. No, I'm joking. We'll have him soon. So take care. Listen to with the Rebel tonight at midnight. And of course, the Lonesome, he has the town hall, regular town hall, I think tomorrow at 4 o'clock, I believe.
Yes, because
tomorrow the 19th, we are at 22 Barbican Road. The UIC has a very action-packed event.
It's not a protest, is it?
20 Barbican Road, 22 Barbican Road, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock tomorrow, 22 Barbican Road at the Chinese Cultural Association Center or whatever it's called. Look at all the
My brother, it's a pleasure. Take care. Be well. We'll be in touch. All right.
Bye-bye.